quite aware the situation has changed since last we spoke.
The truth is still the truth, and a bargain is still a bargain.
And Mayor Cermak is now deceased.
Yes. What does that have to do with our contract?
I do not recall signing a contract with you, Mr. Heller.
We had a verbal agreement. I'm sure my uncle here will attest to that.
Nathan, please. You're being most rude.
But Dawes reacted just as I knew he would.
Lewis, as a family man, I quite understand your position. As for you, young Mr. Heller, you should not have spoken to the papers of this. It was a breach of confidence.
Nothing was said of our arrangement being a confidential one. Besides which, I was in fact discreet.
How so?
I didn't tell the reporters why I was offered the job at the fair. Void our deal, sir, and I'm going to be put into an embarrassing light. I will have to inform the press of your involvement.
This reeks of blackmail, young man.
It reeks of business. Our arrangement is binding in my view, and if you feel differently, I'll be noisy about it.
Nathan.
I'm not a big wheel like you, General, but us little wheels can get good and goddamn squeaky when we don't get our grease.
My secretary will have contracts ready for you to sign this afternoon at 4. Please return and sign them. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey, let's get media. Nope, let's get physical media. Okay, that's a funny name. Okay, I'm Breck. I directed The Crazies, and I'm really excited that we're coming to physical media with a new HDR transfer this spring. Check it out. All right. Hey, let's get physical media. I'm so glad there are fans of actually buying DVDs out there. I'm really excited that Crazies will be coming with a new HDR transfer to physical media. To 4K and HDR, ready to show you guys, so check it out. That was terrible. Hey, let's get physical media. So happy that there are fans of The Crazies out there and fans that are gonna buy the physical disc. We're doing a new HDR transfer, which I'm thrilled to be putting out there, and I hope you guys will check it out.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your pharaoh of physical media. That's right, let our discs go. Robert Meyer, Burnett, and I'm coming at you right now with Let's Get Physical Media. Check it out, episode 199. And if this were John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness, I would have said 1999. You know what I'm talking about, but I don't have to tell you because you already know. That's why you're here watching this show. And you know what else? Not only do you know all of John Carpenter's oeuvre, you have one German on your mind all week long. You wonder, when am I going to see him again? When is he going to show up? And you can think that to yourself, but it only happens for a split second because you know when he's going to show up. That's right, every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific, all the way from Saarbrücken, Deutschland, he is Mr. Dieter Bastian.
And Rob, I have to ask you, how good is your German today? Because I found a little sketch in a magazine, and I don't know if you can help me out translating it. I don't know if I can make it visible for you enough. Because I had to think about you.
I see the word connoisseur. That's about it. Und
That's about it. Okay, Rob. It says here, when a bottle is 14.95 euros, it's called connoisseur and not alcoholic. And I say, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Dieter here. I'm Rocky like Hurricane, and welcome to the B&B Motel for our birthday show. And Rob, belated happy birthday to you. Hope you had a good one, and you got some physical media, perhaps, for your birthday.
You know, it's funny since you bring that up. I did. I got a birthday present all the way from Saarbrücken, Deutschland. I got a 4K disc. Nisa, the original.
Finally. Because I hope you don't have it, Rob, and now you're ready to go, because I hope Velgo USA puts out the sequel at some point.
Well, I'm sure they will. I'm very excited to dive into this.
Yeah.
You know, it's something
So that you're caught up.
It says right on the cover, it's a rip-roaring ride.
Yeah. But the second one is even more epic, Rob, as the first one.
Well, I want to thank you, my friend, for getting me some physical media for my birthday.
Like you and myself, it's tough to get presents for us. You know, you buy a lot of stuff, and people are always don't have to figure out what Blu-ray doesn't he have. It's really tough. So I was thinking, okay, the Criterion stuff he has already, and I went actually through my own shopping list, Rob, and thought, wait, I don't think he has Nisa. Okay,
I do not have
we'll
Nisa.
get that for him.
Speaking of, I got to show another birthday present. I'm wearing it. Speaking of that, the great Martino Sumoni actually went to Port Marion, where The Prisoner, the TV series The Prisoner, was shot, and he got me a couple of T-shirts. This one, I think a lot of people would say it applies to me. And it says, let me stand up here. It says... But I will assure all of you, I don't think I can ever have a still tongue. The girls used to say that, but now I'm sure you're all saying that right now. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Sort of. But yes, so thank you, Martino. And you know what's great about this? So I got these two shirts, and they came wrapped, you know, in plastic when he bought them. They're great shirts. But Martino is a cigar connoisseur. And what was so great was the box that he sent them to me in. Now, this, you know, he lives on the Swiss-Italian border. I opened up the box, and it just smelled delightfully of cigars. And so does this shirt right now. And it's funny because my father, God rest his soul, he died back in 2006. I don't think he ever didn't have a cigar in his mouth. Yeah, he could talk and balance a cigar precariously on his lower lip. I don't know how he did it. When he would go into the grocery store, he'd take the cigar out of his mouth and put it in the wiper blades of his car. He would just set it there. You know, while he went into the store, he'd come back out and grab the cigar and keep on smoking. So, you know, the scent of a good cigar just reminds me of my dad. So thank you, Martino. Thank you very much. These are great shirts. I'm loving them. So, and I just got my box from Wandering Planet Toys with the new Prisoner figures in them. So I'm very excited. I'm kind of having a Prisoner kind of a week. So that's good.
That's awesome. Oh. And I don't know if you got them, but what is the Final Destination? For Final Destination?
Dude, I got okay. First of all, you reviewed it on this show last week, and I clipped the review out, and I put it in a few places. Producer Craig Perry saw the review and commented on it. So it just goes to show you that, you know, people talk about the access media. We're not access media. We are the fucking access. We are the most industry juiced. This is the most industry juiced YouTube channel on the web. Make no mistake. We put up one review from the show, and the producer of the movie comments. That's the kind of choice internet content Dieter and I bring you on a weekly basis. So I'm just saying. I mean, nobody can get that.
Besides the heart of the show.
Yeah, we don't have to bribe anybody. You know, we just say what we want. That's why people come here. They know we're honest brokers. So speaking of honest brokers, this is what our friend Anthony D'Alessandro says on Deadline. Final Destination Bloodlines coursing to a franchise best $51 million bow.
Ooh.
51
projections.
Now this is the third banger in a row for Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca over at Warner Brothers, who 2 months ago the industry was plotting their demise and their exit. Their exit visas seemed imminent. So, you know, that's what of course
around in a second.
That's what Doogie Howser said. Mr. Games and Theory said about Casper Van Dien and Starship Troopers. Anyway, that's I don't know why I said that. I mean, anyway, exit visas are imminent. Makes me think that. So let's see what they say. Don't be shocked in a few hours if Warner Brothers calls Final Destination Bloodlines at $50 million, but the last we checked, $49 million plus is safe after a robust estimated 17.3 Saturday, just 18% off from Friday. Interesting to note that the last two Final Destination movies have had a history of holding from their Friday to Saturday. 2009's previous opening record holder, The Final Destination, dipped 6%, while 2011's Final Destination 5 inched down by 15%. Everyone has been marveling over Warner Brothers' stunts for the latest horror chapter, in particular, those iconic log trucks. Thank God none of them really buckled. That would have been a very bad stunt. Relish Mix reports that social media for Bloodlines is 353.3 million mentions across TikTok, YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook, which is 75% ahead of horror franchise norms. So their online have been buzzing about this being Tony Todd's final role, as well as the need to see Bloodlines in IMAX. So, I mean, that's great. It's great for Warner Brothers, and, it's great for movies. And remember, Warner Brothers, in just 2 months from now, in August, well, I guess it's 3 months from now, has Weapons coming out. Zach Kreger's follow-up to Barbarian. Don't sleep on Weapons. The marketing for that has already started, and it looks great. So, and you know what? Final Destination Bloodlines might even make more money today. Those might go up. We'll know what the actuals are on Monday. So here we are.
There's a lot of walk-ups to the movie.
Yes.
Late walk-ups. Through
this is
word of mouth.
Good word of mouth. That's what happens. And you know what? They're good for producer Craig Perry and everybody involved for making a hit. We always want to see hits and an old franchise coming back from the grave and ready to party. So Final Destination Bloodlines it could be, as high as 51 million, we'll know. Thunderbolts was number 2. It made 15.5 million, down 52%, which is a pretty good hold. And it's up to 154.4 million domestic for its third week. Sinners added 16 theaters this week. It made another $15 million, down only 32%. Sinners domestically has made $240.3 million. That is huge. Right. So you go, Ryan Coogler and team.
I think it was shown at the IMAX screens this weekend.
Yeah, they added IMAX theaters. They added IMAX screens. So they're adding screens, and it's still making money. $15 million. Minecraft only dropped 23% for a domestic total of $416.6 million. However you want to look at it, Minecraft is huge.
Yeah, especially since it's out on digital, Rob, since Tuesday.
And The Accountant 2 only dropped 32%. Okay. And this is it's in its fourth week. It's up to 58.7 million domestic. Okay. The Weekend's Hurry Up Tomorrow didn't do very well. It looks like it's about 3.6 million. Clown in a Cornfield made more than The Weekend. 1.4 million, down 62%. Its total is at 6.4 million. So The Clown in the Cornfield is more popular with the children than Hurry Up Tomorrow, The Weekend's movie. Friendship, which everyone says is great, a new A24 movie.
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd is up 215% week 2. It added 54 theaters. It's up to $2 million. Everyone I've talked to said it was great. Until Dawn is down 62%, and it's week 4. It's made 19.5 million. And Rami Malek's The Amateur only down 40% for a total of 700,000 at number 10. So it's made 40.1 million. So there you go.
So I'm totally happy.
Pretty good. I mean, the box office, people are going to the movies. And next week we have Lilo and Stitch, which is going to make all the money. Yeah. By the way, I'll give you a prediction. I think that worldwide, I don't know how many movies, I don't know how many screens Lilo and Stitch is opening on. I think next week, worldwide, $175 to $200 million for Lilo and Stitch.
Domestic or globally, Rob?
Global. Could be more. Could be a lot more. But between 75 and 200 million. 175 and 200 million. Also opening next week Is Mission Impossible 8 the final reckoning? And it just so
Reckoning.
happens a little bird flew into my ear and said, Dieter has seen Mission Impossible 8. Is that true?
Correct, Rob. Yesterday was the first showings of the movie, and last Monday, I think, was the first press screenings and the reviews that came out
Okay,
of it.
let's pause right here because I'm going to clip this segment out, and people seem to like Dieter Bastian. So here we go. Here we go. Dieter, you have seen before the American release. You have seen in Saarbrücken, Deutschland. You have seen Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, the culmination of 30 years of a franchise, 3 hours long, 1 hour for each decade. Have Tom Cruise and Chris McQuarrie-McHugh, have they delivered? Yay or nay? What do you say, Dieter? Give us the German perspective.
Unfortunately for me, not, Rob. For me, it is the disappointing movie of the year at the moment, because what I heard through the grapevines was true. You have a lot, and I mean a lot of exposition at the beginning of the movie, and I have no idea why the movie started that way, because after that reckoning we already had the key. So I was thinking the first thing we do in the new one would be the diving sequence to the Sevastopol. But I haven't checked my watch, but it probably comes after 90 minutes into the movie. And one of your criticism was about the entity. And if it was mentioned in that reckoning, you can multiply that by, I don't know, 100 for the new one.
To me, The Entity is a book by Frank D. Felitta that was turned into a movie starring Barbara Hershey. And it was about a spectral rapist who preyed on a woman night after night after night. Yeah. I'm just saying. That's why you calling it The Entity I always bumped on that.
Yeah. And for me, The Entity wants, world domination, get rid of the humans. And I don't know what she's doing afterwards, playing check against herself. I have no idea, Rob. And I have to say, at one moment, or at one point in the movie, I was checked out. I was completely checked out. So the stunt sequence with the plane, yeah, it's great. But for me, I was taken out of it. For me, it was just a stunt that I was shown. It was great, the stunt, but for me, considering the movie, and especially the ending, Rob, for me is a total copy and paste of the Fallout stuff. I don't mean that in the action sense, because we have helicopters, now we have planes. But what you have, Rob, is Ethan Hunt has to get something that he has to put into something that the others can, clip the cable at the right moment. It's totally exactly the same as Fallout was, from the mechanics, how it plays out in the end. So for me, if I had to rate the franchise, I'm now Rob, easily what is my least favorite of the franchise. It is the new one, unfortunately. I would have totally structured the movie differently than they did, and they had crowbarred in not all, but a lot of the old movies. You have to crowbar in the old movies. It was all the entities' plan, The rabbit's foot from the third, was all the entities' plan, So for me, Rob, of course, I will give it a second chance. But for me, after the first watch, I was disappointed. As soon as the credits started, I left. I just wanted to get out of the theater because it was a long evening, because I had a break during my screening. Immediately they said, we will be showing the movie with an intermission, which always puts me off. That's another 15 minutes added to the already long runtime. And I actually thought during the intermission, okay, we have perhaps the exposition now behind us. Let's get into it. But it did go on and on. For me, disappointing. It was disappointing, unfortunately.
Wow.
So I don't And then I saw that the budget is 400 million for it. The movie will not make this money back. No chance in hell. No chance in hell.
Wow.
Sorry, Rob. For me, disappointing.
Well,
but let me just say, my friend Eric Van Shore, the director of Hope and Glory, he had a blast because he's in the live chat and he said, it is still a blast, everybody, and he loved it, and he will see it on Tuesday again. So he totally was into it, But for me, it was disappointing. After I had so much fun with Final Destination, this one, unfortunately not, Rob. Unfortunately not. And the only thing that I can say, Rob, that Reckoning is gold now. Is gold against Final Reckoning.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dead Reckoning was my least favorite film in the franchise.
Yeah. But it got an uptick after you seen Final Reckoning. Dead Reckoning is
well,
final.
I mean, I think it should be said that one of the things that with Chris McQuarrie's, I thought Rogue Nation and Fallout were great.
Yeah.
Now,
totally.
the thing that should be said is they've mentioned the fact that they think about these action scenes and they're writing scripts. I mean, Chris McQuarrie is he's an Academy Award winning screenwriter. He wrote Usual Suspects. And I think that, they didn't have a script. They didn't have the story. They didn't know where they were going to go. And I think these last two movies, I think the addition of AI, an entity, was problematic. And I think that by trying to do the whole the Daniel Craig James Bond idea and try and tie the whole thing together and I understand that impulse, but it's ridiculous to say that some entity was around 30 years ago when technology has changed. I don't like the idea that Brian De Palma's first Mission Impossible movie, which I quite like, and I think it still holds up. It's a very different kind of a movie, that gets retconned into the future of the franchise. I don't dig that.
But that was actually pretty decently done. But for me, it was just, the rabbit's foot was a part of the entity's plan. And Gabriel just wants the entity for himself. He wants to control the entity. But
well,
I'm really looking forward what you are thinking about.
I mean, I'm going. I'm not going to miss it.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe I'll like it more.
Totally.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I hope so.
Now, we have a guest coming later to talk. We're going to have a new little segment with writer Max Allen Collins, who's going to talk about a few noir movies. One that was just released we showed the other a couple weeks ago, one that was released by Warner Archive. So, it's to shamelessly promote our own audio drama, not going to lie. But I figured we'd he likes coming on the show. He watches this show religiously, and his wife dreams of talking to you one day. So we'll do that in the second hour of the show. I'm just saying.
A nightmare.
But before that, should we show some physical media?
Yeah, totally. Who starts, Rob?
Why don't you start?
Okay. Because, Rob, like I said, it's our birthday show, because I had a birthday too. And Paul and Bernotto did send me stuff.
Oh, he sent me stuff too, and I should have brought it. Oh, I have some. I was going to show it later. Shit.
Yeah. And I don't know what he's thinking. Paul, you're ruining my reputation here, because he totally went into a deep dive and got me art movies. Rob. The first thing that I will show that he got me is, of course, my Mockingjay pin, always useful. And then from the Voyage to the Moon, he got me a film strip.
Wow.
This is a little bit swag. Then, couldn't believe it, from 1916. I didn't have unpacked it yet. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea from Universal. You're killing me, Paul. It's all that art stuff. I have no idea about this one. Jean de Florette and Manon de Source from Umbrella World Cinema.
Wow, he's really giving you the good stuff.
Yeah. The next one, I have no idea, Rob. Never seen this movie. Looks totally interesting with Scott Glenn. Never heard of it. Slaughter of the Innocents.
Oh,
Never heard
yeah.
of this one. Never heard of this one. Totally cat in the bag. And not only that, he got me a PlayStation 5 game, Rob. I have not dived into it. It's called Corvs. So really looking forward to it, because the most important thing, it's a one-player game. So no multiplayer.
Wow.
That's how I like
do you
it.
get to sing?
I have no idea. Probably not. But it looks nice. Never heard of this game before. And on the book side, he brought me the Jaws making of book.
That's a great book.
That's
a great book.
Expanded edition. So Paul, thank you for all that stuff. Unbelievable, Rob. So a little bit, the first of my birthday haul, Rob.
There you go.
Unbelievable. So I give it over to you.
Well, so first of all, I did get a box. Sorry, I have to look over to the side.
Yeah.
I did get a box from Kino Lorber. Of again, a great eclectic mix of stuff. Now, the first was another cool documentary. Actually, I'm actually looking forward to this. Diane Warren, Relentless. Now, Diane Warren has written songs for many movies and things.
Many.
She also is credited with the song. It was actually written for Patch Adams, but they used the song as the theme song to Enterprise, the last real Star Trek show. Yes, that's a Diane Warren joint. Then something that Max Allan Collins will particularly love, Audie Murphy, collection number 4, came out. These old great westerns. This has The Kid from Texas, The Cimarron Kid, and Drums Across the River. So there's some good ones right here. Really good stuff. Now, I just dropped one, so hang on. Let me go down and get it. Then we have the Canine Stars, more silent films. The Wonder Dogs, Canine Stars of the Silent Era. Only Kino Lorber can bring you silent movies about dogs. And that's certainly going to fit right into our household. And then the film of the Blu-rays that I'm really excited about, Being Maria. This is the story of Maria Schneider and the filming of Last Tango in Paris with Matt Dillon playing Brando.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to seeing this. And it says right here, a fascinating look at the turbulent life of actor Maria Schneider. This will finally answer the question, is the butter scene scripted or unscripted? A lot of people say, a lot of controversy about the filming of that movie. But we'll see. So that's exciting. They gave me some other things that... should I show everything now or not?
No, Rob. No, we can go back and forth if you want.
Go back and forth. All right.
The other stuff, but this was actually on my gift list. But my family was clever enough to purchase stuff from the gift list then. So we have Cat in the Bags. The first one, I don't know exactly if it's a German-Norwegian co-production. It's called Gletschergrab, so Glacier Tomb, I would say, with Ian Glenn is in it, and German actor. Heard good things about it, but never seen it. Gletschergrab. Then we have this is on Netflix, and even if I thought the movie was just good enough for streaming, it came out here as a Blu-ray because it was actually playing in theaters here with Glenn Powell, his Hitman movie, which was called here actually A Killer Romance.
Yeah, instead of I like that movie a lot.
Unfortunately, not a reversal cover artwork, so I have to live with the little rating here. Then let me just see. Cat in the Bag, The Apology, The Revenge of a Mother.
Wow.
So hopefully nice thriller. Then one that you mentioned, Rob, something I probably would not buy myself, but as a present, okay, I will try this from Francis Ford Coppola. His one,
Yeah, you're
One
gonna
from
love
the
that.
and it comes. This is the German edition, like you, with the 2 versions
Yeah,
of the movie, so that I
and a reversible cover.
the theatrical. Only the reversible, Rob. You see, the rating is gone here. It's just for not having the rating. This one is actually the sequel, so I have to buy the first one too. It wasn't my gift list, but it did bought me the sequel with Eric Bana, the role that he plays in the Try, Force of Nature. This is the second one, and I heard good things about the first one. This one, more mediocre stuff, but I will purchase the first one too. Force of Nature, the Try, 1 and 2. And the last one from this pack, from Turbine, actually pretty hefty box. The Last Emperor in 4K.
Nice.
Der letzte Kaiser in German. This one would have a reversible cover artwork with German title again. And it comes with the 4K theatrical version, Blu-ray theatrical version, the longer version on Blu-ray, and special features. So this is a 4-disc set, Rob. So this was all from my own own gift list, Rob. Back to you.
Well, that's very exciting.
Put
So,
into my gift case again.
and is that everything?
No, Rob. Should I show more?
Yeah, show us more, buddy.
This was just gift stuff. Now, the stuff that I personally purchased, okay? This one, Cat in the Bag. It's not Chew on the Crutch, it's Chew on the Curse. 1 and 2, actually. But just on 1 disc, so don't know about the quality. We'll see about that. Chew on the Curse. Then I know it didn't get good reviews. It didn't get mostly not any buzz at all. But I still will looking forward to it because I didn't watch it on Max. I bought the Tune series as a
Oh, nice.
4K and Blu-ray, and I think the steelbook looks really, really nice. But I haven't seen it yet. So the discs are above each other. Dune, obviously the series as a steelbook. From England, from the UK, Cat in the Bag. It's just called He Never Left. Looks like a nice thriller, no, slasher type of movie. 18 certificate, strong bloody violence. Okay, all I need. Then we go to French, my neighbors. I bought some French title. The first one you already showed, Rob. You showed the Lionsgate Limited Steelbook. This is the French one. I think it looks pretty decent too. For Criminal Squad Pantera. I think this is pretty nice.
Den of
too.
Thieves 2.
Yeah, correct. So with the 4K and Blu-ray, but I haven't seen it yet. The Criminal Squad here as a steelbook. Then Cat in the Bag for me, but it looks good. But wait, because I have all French titles, I have to see what the actual English title for the movie is. I have clipped it out before the show. Just see where I have it. The English title is How to Make a Killing. Ur dans la Jura. And it says, Rob, I hope I can rely on that it comes with English subtitles. I have no idea, Rob. I hope it is. It says it correctly.
Maybe.
Here on the technical specs. I hope so, Rob. Or I will be pissed. I will be pissed again. Looks like a nice murder comedy. Let's see about it. Then those two were pretty big movies back in my childhood. And I was just curious about the picture quality and how will I view them today. Unfortunately, these came from my neighbors, so they don't have the famous German dubbing of those movies, which is actually a pretty big bummer, I have to say, because those dubs were pretty legendary, I have to say. So with Terence Hill and Bud Spencer in 4K from France, this was called, let me just see, the English title was, where do I have the English title? This was called Go For It was the English title. The German title was just Two Strong Guys, actually. And this is the French title, which I will not try to pronounce here. And these were both from 81 and 83. Those were big theater hits back in the day here in Germany. This is from 83 and this is from 81, actually. And they did a lot of movies together. And they were especially huge here in Germany. So, and they are available in 4K in France. And this one was shot in America, like this one too. So they actually have an English track to it, not an Italian one. So I bought these two, Rob. These two, just to be curious about the picture quality. How will I view the movies today? Because before I did my setup, I watched this one, Go For It, and yeah, it's nonsense, Rob. It's nonsense, non-stop nonsense, you know. And the other one was actually called. Let me just see. The title of the other one in English was Who Finds a Friend, was the English title of that one. Okay, Rob. First of all, from actual purchases that I did.
Well, good. That's good. I mean, that's definitely a good thing. Well, I'll show you. I guess I'll go through the rest of my haul this week.
Yeah.
Which not huge, but Kino Lorber also sent me a few things. More. They sent me some 4Ks. Wayne's World. Okay. Wayne's World. Excellent.
Oh, nice.
There's
it's party time.
It's party time. They also sent me along with Wayne's World because they group things together. Kingpin. If you like Kingpin and other.
Rob help me out. Didn't release Paramount? Didn't Paramount release a Steelbook of Wayne's World, but not a 4K? And the 4K now comes from Kino Lorber.
Yes.
Strange how things are.
You know, it's, I don't know. Now they sent me. Yeah. Now this is not a great movie, but I am tremendously fond.
You have
of
to
this
be
film.
honest. You have to be honest.
I have to check something before, because I'm going to tell you a quick story about this movie. And let me just check, because I have to make sure I say the right thing in terms of movie release date. Hang on. Okay, so here we go. This is the last thing that Kino Lorber sent me in 4K is Prophecy. The monster movie. Now, this film came out June 15th, 1979. I won tickets to see this movie. I was in the 6th grade. And I won tickets to see this movie from Seattle.
Radio contest, Rob.
Yeah, radio contest. A radio contest. Okay. KYYX Seattle. And I won tickets to see this movie. Now, David Seltzer, who wrote The Omen, wrote this screenplay. And I think he also turned it into a novel that he wrote. I don't know if he wrote the novel first. But I took a friend of mine, not really romantic, but we've been friends. We went to elementary school together from kindergarten through the 6th grade. A girl named Lisa Hammerly, who's now a scientist. And we're in the 6th grade. You know, I just wanted to see it. And while we were sitting next to each other and watching this movie, by the way, this movie has still to this day one of the greatest kills in any movie, where the jelly bean or the gummy bear monster, the mutated bear, there's these kids like camping, or this family's camping. I forget. It's been so long since I've seen it. And the bear takes, like, this kid gets up and he's trapped in his sleeping bag, and the bear swipes the kid in the sleeping bag, and he flies back and it hits a rock and just explodes. The sleeping bag explodes. I think it's in the trailer.
Memorable kills, Rob. Memorable kills. It's all about that.
Oh, and it's got a reversible cover too.
Okay.
Although this reversible cover is not good, but I've never seen this artwork.
Yeah.
Here's the reversible cover. It lives, don't move, don't breathe. There's nowhere to run. It will find you. This looks like some foreign cover, but this is one of the great pieces of key art, monster key art. You know, this.
But you had to slip so you can easily do the reversible.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep the reversible cover on because it's, you know, we always want to do that. So yeah, so I took Lisa Hammerly, and while she was watching the movie, she was so scared, she took off her sneaker. And she had curled her sneaker up into a ball. And she was holding it in her hands like this because she was completely terrified. You know, girls in the 6th grade, they hadn't seen. And by the way, this was pre me getting a VCR. So, you know, this was a pretty big deal to see Prophecy, the monster movie. So now I have it in 4K. I have not seen this since I saw it.
And for free, Rob.
For free when I was 12 years old. Now, the other things I got were a box from Arrow. I got a box from Arrow with 2 things in it. The first of those things.
I too, Rob, but I don't know if it's the same.
One was the Andromeda strain.
Okay.
Now, they had previously released this on Blu-ray. This is the first of all, every time I watch this, I love this movie. This movie gave me a lifelong love of movies about plagues and diseases. Give me any movie about pandemics. This is where it all began. I used to think it was Stephen King's The Stand, but every time I watch this movie, I'm reminded, no, it was the Andromeda strain. This movie is a fucking banger. It's always been a banger. It has a crazy electronic score. This movie is scary as hell. Robert Wise directed it. You know, Mr. West Side Story, Mr. Star Trek The Motion Picture, the man who edited Citizen Kane. This movie is so handsomely directed. It's so serious. It's almost like a docudrama. And and Douglas Trumbull did the visual effects before he did Star Trek The Motion Picture, and it was written by Nelson Gidding wrote the script, but it's based on Michael Crichton. You know, Michael Crichton, Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton, the man who created ER. It's based on his first novel. And he was a doctor, and he wrote this, and this came out 2 years after he wrote his first novel. This transfer looks incredible. Incredible. And, you know, also, reversible sleeve. It's got the key art on it. And the booklet, they republished their booklet, and the booklet has talking points for schools from 1971 in the booklet. So what after you see this movie, what you can talk about to your kids. I mean, and I watched this last night. You know, I had to put it on. It was like 12 o'clock. I'm like, I got to take a look and see what this looks like.
I'm just checking the transfer, and then you watched it the whole way through.
I had to, because every time I put it, this movie is so compelling, and it really is. Whenever I talk about the great science fiction movies, I always leave this out. But this movie, there was 2001, there was Planet of the Apes, and this has to be considered in the triptych of the great science fiction films, because this movie is great. And it's about, it's about what happens if an extraterrestrial virus could plunge to Earth on a satellite. I mean, we've seen this idea before. Night of the Living Dead posited that the zombie apocalypse started because of a Venus probe. This Arrow this 4K is absolutely stunning. It looks amazing.
Is this UK exclusive, Rob? Or is this not available in
I think
America?
I look at it, it has, it must be UK because it's got the UK PG symbol.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
But it works, it's all region because it works in my player. Yeah. So, and then of course, I would imagine the second disc, you must have got this too. they said it was delayed, and I wasn't supposed to get
Okay.
this till the end of the month.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No, I have a little more trashy titles, Rob, than those
The
two.
Arrow, a fistful of dollars. First of all, they say the damn fool idealistic crusader had something to do with this. Again, I'm loving that Arrow, they used to not do this, but now they have O-rings, slipcases on their beautiful matte finish box sets. And this package, first of all, I love this packaging. And what does this come with? It comes with, not only does it have, here's another, it's got a reversible sleeve, but it also has a different reversible sleeve it looks like some of this artwork, but it's got some of the elements removed. There's actually 3 sleeves in this. And then it also comes with, a great, again, like Arrow does, a great booklet. And it comes with a poster with 2 different artworks on it. But the real question is, what does it look like? What does it sound like? Because this is our
Kino Lorber. Okay.
Bro, this disc fucking rules. I mean, it looks incredible. And it has 2 discs. It's got the feature on 4K.
It has more audio options than the Kino Lorber.
Yes, it does. That's because damn fool idealistic crusader must have been involved. This transfer looks amazing. It is beautiful. Again, I never will have to buy this movie again. And this is, Quentin Tarantino says Sergio Leone's Man with No Name trilogy is the greatest trilogy of all time. And, who am I to say no? But it is a great, great looking disc. And again, it's chock-a-block full of features. The features are on the Blu-ray. There's so much stuff on here. And there's newly filmed stuff. I scratched the surface of the special features.
Yeah.
To me, this belongs in every look. If you like these movies, and why shouldn't you? It is, as Tarantino says, one of the great trilogies of all time. Each one just gets better and better. This is definitely up there with one of the releases of the year. I would imagine that all 3 of these are going to be the same. So kudos to Arrow for doing that. And, I hate to double dip or triple dip or quadruple dip. How many times have I bought these movies in my life?
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah. But these are definitive, I would imagine, unless there's some mistake.
And I think a fistful of dollars more comes out next week, officially. The second one.
For a few dollars more.
It comes out next week.
Next
for
week?
a few dollars more.
Yeah.
I think.
And I ordered these directly from Arrow. So I like that, they send them to me from the UK and they pack them well and they show up.
Correct.
And they tell you where they are in customs, you can track them, and I've never had a problem. I like ordering directly from Arrow, and getting their I forgot I had points. They've expired.
That you put.
Yeah,
but you still have them, Rob. You still have them.
No, because once you put them in, I think you can only use them for 7 days. Once you put them in your...
I don't think so, Rob.
Well, once you put them in your cart, I meant to...
Yeah. Okay.
Uh-oh. Well, we'll check that out.
You have to check, Rob.
Yeah.
You have to check. And after Rob has brought us this great Arrow titles, let's, put down the bar a little bit. Let's get a little bit more trashy. But I just love the covers of those titles. I got Jason Goes to Hell. And of course, Jason X 2, which they always have the original artwork for the movie. And Jason Goes to Hell comes with the theatrical cut and the unrated cut.
I haven't got mine yet. I did order them, though.
Oh, nice, Rob. Nice, Rob. And look at it. This nice booklet, Rob. Cool idea here. We've done. And even if we all know that Jason X is trash, but tell me, Rob, it has memorable kills, you know. And we have, of course, the poster artwork in it. Probably, again, the new one and original one, as it is with the covers, yeah. So the new one and the old one, which through the ending at least got us a hint that we perhaps could get a Freddy versus Jason, which we actually did get later. So Jason Goes to Hell. And it's always nice that if you look at the cover, you have the little hints here in the eye, you know, about the contents of this movie. And of course, great Jason X. Original cover artwork below, but this is only one disc because there is no different versions as far as I know for it. Another cool idea for a booklet for it.
Nice.
That's all we want. Jason in space, you know. So Jason X, and it comes with the poster 2. And as Arrow always puts in a card, we have critters in. Give us a little bit what's coming down the pike from them. So I couldn't say no, even if the at least Jason Goes to Hell is not my favorite, but I just love the artwork, and as a Jason fan, there are must, of course, in those editions. So both Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X from Arrow.
Well, hey, I mean, you know, I ordered those too. I have the Friday the 13th box set. I couldn't not get those in 4K. Come on, Jason Goes to Space.
Yeah, exactly. And a great free skill, you know, we all remember that. It's all about the nice, memorable kills.
It's
Jason
true.
X has them.
It is true.
Nostalgia kill with the sleeping bags. So, Rob, I think
not
we should go through the super chats.
to love? Oh yeah, we haven't gone through super chats yet. I always forget that. By the way, we had a great member call. I want to thank everybody who was on the member call yesterday. A special shout out to the absolutely lovely and delightful Castle Grace Skull.
Oh, nice.
Whose name is actually
I haven't
Grace.
seen her because the YouTube stuff is only 2 hours. I don't think
She
featured
came
first.
on. She was absolutely delightful.
Okay.
And as they said in the movie Freaks, one of us. She actually bought the Moon Knight hot toy. Come on now. What's not to love? And she apparently is very crushed out on the old Dave Parker. So maybe this channel will become a matchmaking service. And why not? Garrett Groover says, why is encoding and authorship important? What exactly does a company like Fidelity in Motion do? Well, that is a very important question. And when you're encoding a file, there are ways to encode files that are better than others. And so, you know, I don't actually do encoding. So I could not tell you the vagaries of what goes into encoding. But the thing about it is, there's things like bit rates and what are you gonna do with the file, how you process a file before. And I got cut off. That's I don't know why people do that. So what you're doing is you're basically I'll give you an example. When we were doing Star Trek The Next Generation and they gave us the episodes, the final remastered episodes, they each were 60 gigabytes. So you can't take a 60 gigabyte file and put it on a disc. Plus we had multiple episodes to put on a disc. So the file has to be processed and encoded, and you have to do it with different codecs, like H.264. So H.264 will take your file and it will encode it down. And so there's things like compression, codecs, the audio, and you've got algorithms and things that reduce the size of the file. And what you want to do is you want to retain as much of that original file as possible in terms of, color, sound, everything. And you can just use software to do it and hit a button and compress the file. But depending on what codec you use, depending on how you process the files and what equipment you're using, it's important. And you're basically encoding the raw audio and video and compressing it in such a way to retain the greatness of whatever the original uncompressed file is. So you have some kind of, again, I've never done it, but people are analyzing video and data, and there's video and audio, and it's how you compress it for the disk that matters. And some people take a lot of time, and some people take less time, because it's a process. You can either push a button and just use your software and encode it, or like my introductions I do for observations, I make them in 4K. But when I output them using the H.264 codec. But I just do whatever it does in Final Cut or whatever I'm using. And however it encodes it is what I get. But when you're doing a movie, you're managing those things. You're managing everything. And fidelity in motion isn't just hitting a button. They're taking time to compress the disc in various ways, so you get the most out of it. And that's why they're the best in the business. So, because a movie file, like the original file of Tango Shalom, the original finished, uncompressed 4K file was 750 gigabytes, which is monstrously huge.
Yeah.
And then you have to compress it down into H.264 to put it onto a Blu-ray. That's still a high-def file. So there's a lot of work. You can either hit a button, just have software take care of it, or you can manage the various streams, the various... I'm not doing a very good job of explaining this, but that's basically why it is.
Rob, different picture elements. Some are moving fast, some are slower.
Well, that's
another.
That's definitely
which
another
comes into the bit rates. If you don't have much movement, you don't need a high bit rate at that moment.
That's exactly right, and it's all, the bit rates are constantly changing because of the format. So, like, what it does is when you have a scene, like say you have a still frame, like if there's the camera's not panning or anything, and you have somebody walking across the image, the background. All that you're getting is the movement in the frame, because if the background stays the same, that's not being encoded. They've already got the background, so you just see what changes in the frame. So it's a pretty interesting process. So, and it's how data is analyzed and the various algorithms that are used and all that. But, it really is. It depends how it's encoded and how much time and effort is spent doing so. So... there you go, and that's kind of why it's important. And of course, now I'm looking at where did they
go?
Yeah, where did they go? Hang on, here it is. I found it. So, Rulath says, "What are your top 4Ks you are waiting on?" Mine, in no particular order, are Minority Report, Kelly's Heroes, Patton, and Planet of the Apes. Oh, and The Wolverine. Those are all good ones. Do you have
for movies that are not even scheduled for release at the moment? He talks about those kind of movies.
Yeah, we heard from Bill Hunt. I have alluded to this. I was talking about this not too long ago. We know that Excalibur is coming to 4K. And that was a grail title of mine. I mean, like Roulas says, I want Forbidden Planet, I want Logan's Run, I want the Planet of the Apes movies, the original 5. I do want Patton, I want all that jazz. I wanted Barry Lyndon, I'm getting that. I mean, there's still a lot of 4Ks that I really, really, really want. Arrow, by the way, is in fact doing UK releases of movies like Thief and To Live and Die in LA Again, which I have to buy To Live and Die in LA Again. And the thing about Arrow's Thief, they have the theatrical version, which is not what Criterion released. Criterion released a director's cut that has some added scenes. So if you want the theatrical version,
you like the theatrical version better. I think.
A little bit, yeah. There's one scene that's pretty good, but I can't say who's releasing. I can't say who's releasing Excalibur because I can't say. Don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
So, Kelvin Wellborn, Kelvin has been a member for 37 months. Thank you, Kelvin.
Nice.
Paul Allen Bernotto. I always say Bernotto. Paul Allen Bernotto says, read the birthday note I wrote you, Dieter. Do you have the birthday note Paul wrote you?
Okay, the birthday note. Okay, here it is. Okay. Happy belated birthday to you, Dieter. Hope it was a great one. Sent you a little birthday package to celebrate your day. Hoping you don't have any of these items. No, I didn't, Paul. You did good there. Sorry you didn't get this box on your actual birthday, but at least you got it. Enjoy, my friend, and hoping one day we will get to meet, as I'm part German and would love to visit this beautiful country sooner than later. Maybe during Oktoberfest. Wouldn't that be a hoot? Thank you for your thoughts. Good wishes during my recovery. I hope you're doing well. Mögen die Sterne auf dir leuchten, mein Freund. May the stars shine upon me. Catch you later, Paul Allen Bernotto. This was the first thing. So I did make good on this.
Well, that's there you go, Paul. And Paul did send me a box of goodness that includes a book. I should have brought it down today. I didn't think about that. That I didn't have, that I'm looking forward to reading. Walter Whitewalker says, Andor code name should have been Conjunction Andor code's name should have been Conjunction Junction. You're probably right. The Alex Zorba says, great news that Excalibur is coming to 4K soon. Now we need Grand Prix plus Master and Commander 4K. Also, how about a free Enterprise update? First of all, we know, because it's screened in theaters, that, and Thomas went and saw it, Ridley Scott's Kingdom of Heaven is coming out.
Yeah.
And it's screened here in LA. Bill Hunt went and saw it. And then Thomas went and saw it in the theater because it's screened. I didn't even know I would have gone to see it. That's coming out from Fox. And Steve Asbell, the president of 20th Century Fox, was instrumental in having that happen. I think we can bet that because of their new Sony deal and what they're doing, obviously, with Kingdom of Heaven and the Steelbook, that we will be seeing Fox titles, maybe a deluge of them, coming out before the end of the year. And I would imagine that Patton and the Planet of the Apes movies and Master and Commander are going to be there, I would imagine.
Nice.
So yeah. Walter Whitewalker says, tonight's Last of Us is going to be a real tearjerker. Yeah, it looks to be a flashback. Joel coming back. Castle Grayskull says, thanks for the wonderful conversation, Robert. Well, I dare say the pleasure was certainly all mine, and all of ours, everybody in the chat, because you are absolutely delightful. A wonderful addition to the Post-Geek Singularity community. And Castle Grayskull also sent out a Burnettwork membership. So thank you for that. That was great. And by the way, Castle Grayskull also bought a resin model kit of another character from Moon Knight. And it's great because, it reminded me that people are still making resin. Before there was Hot Toys and before there was really high-end figures, you would buy like in the 90s, everybody bought garage kits of figures, and I was never a good figure painter. Figure painting is a really it's an acquired skill. I can paint ships and things made of metal, but doing doing the airbrush work needed
Fine,
to
fine art.
I never learned that skill. Maybe I'll teach myself those skills in my old age when I'm old and infirm. I do not know. So I don't know where Max is.
Okay.
I told Max to come at, but I don't know where he is. He was going to be here at. I told him to come at 2, and it's 2 his time. We'll see. Maybe he's trying to figure out how to get on. But hey, Max, if you're watching, Todd Jones says, I don't know if I can say that. Apparently, other people found Castle Grayskull to be delightful as well. So that's great, and I felt that way too. Let's just leave it at that. So yeah, there we go. Oh, Max is calling me. Let's see what he's saying.
Yeah.
What up, buddy?
Hey, I'm looking at the screen that says "Welcome from Rendezvous." Little circles going around and around.
Did
Is my video turned off or something?
No, I don't see you there in your circles coming around and around. Are you using Chrome?
I typed my name in.
Are you using Chrome as your browser?
Yeah.
And it's just spinning around and around and around?
Right.
So that's really interesting. I don't know what would...
I can just start over.
Yeah, start over. Maybe restart your computer.
Let me just try this.
By the way, you're live, buddy. How do you... say something to the folks at home.
Hello, folks at home.
This is actually Max Allen Collins, Mystery Writers of America Grandmaster. You know, Max, you have a book coming out that you wanted to write for a very long time, The Return of the Maltese Falcon, that is a sequel to your favorite mystery novel of all time, if memory serves.
Well, that's true. It's the Maltese Falcon would be my favorite book if I'm writing a book called Return of the Maltese Falcon or Return to the Maltese Falcon.
Now, you were able...
Who remembers the exact titles?
You were able to do that because you tracked the public when that novel fell into the public domain, right?
Well, that's right. I'd had my eye on this for a while, and I knew it was going to go into the public domain in January of next year. And so I tried to get a jump on anybody else that might be thinking about doing it. And then I have, of course, I'm published by Hard Case Crime, where the great Charles Ardai is the editor. And that allowed me to pitch this. And apparently I beat everybody to the punch, I hope. And even so, I'm the first one to get out there and talk about it. So that's something. I really spent a lot of time trying to make it as faithful as I could to Dashiell Hammett and the original novel.
Do you think you succeeded?
I think I did. I mean, I'm not claiming it's as good as the Maltese Falcon. Few novels are. But I think it picks up pretty much right where the first book ends, and I stay working within the world that Hammett created. So we go back to places, and any people or places that I go to are pretty much things that were mentioned in the first book and not maybe pursued.
So would you say this is the two Jakes of the Maltese Falcon IP?
Well, I happen to really love the two Jakes.
I know.
So I'd be glad to say that to anybody who likes the two Jakes. But I know there are a lot of people that don't agree with me about the two Jakes. Which, by the way, I'm going to be doing the commentary for your friends at Kino.
I know.
For the two Jakes.
So you're now a professional physical media person. You don't just direct movies. By the way, your new movie Death by Fruitcake premiered theatrically.
It did.
And now,
at the Last Picture House in Davenport, Iowa.
Are you going to be doing that commentary with Heath from Serial at Midnight?
I am. I am going to be doing it with Heath Holland. Yeah.
That's cool.
And he's a great guy. I don't have to tell you that.
Yeah, he's been on the show. He's pinch hit for Dieter when Dieter couldn't make it.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable, and he shares with me an interest in the classic cinema. And it doesn't mean I don't like to watch stuff from every era. And I'm sorry we were going to go actually have the TV. Well, I was actually going to be on TV today with you, but my lack of tech knowledge has kept me on.
Well, how's that working? How's that working? Can you get on?
I'm trying.
Do.
I'm restarting my computer.
Or do not.
I'm restarting my computer.
There is no try.
I'm glad we have this opportunity to talk about crime and mystery films, because I think for the imagination connoisseurs, that is the genre that has gotten the least attention, even though arguably it's...
Well, wait a second. You got to do this on camera, because that's the whole point, is that you got to wait to say this on camera, because that's important, because I'm going to clip it out. Like I'm going to clip out Dieter's bad review of Mission Impossible 8, The Final Reckoning.
I haven't gone yet. I was very disappointed to hear Dieter's take on it, though.
Yeah, so are the producers of the movie. They're going to hate me at Paramount.
Well,
if that would change
it's not
anything,
going to dissuade me from going. I'm glad to know that it's 3 hours long, so I can prepare for that. A guy my age needs the occasional bathroom break.
Well, don't you just take a big catheter and a funnel, and it's just like you're putting oil in your car, and you just put, you just let it go and fill up a jar. That's what I do.
Put it this way. That depends.
Oh, that's a terrible joke. That's terrible.
Is it terrible?
That's a terrible joke.
Then why did you set me up for it?
I know, but I'm just glad you walked right in there. That was great. It was good. So we'll keep trying to get on. I'm gonna turn you off because I want to see your lovely face.
All right, I'm gonna try again.
No, do or do not. There is no try.
There is no try.
You will be. So make it happen, Max. We're waiting.
I'm working on it.
All right. I'll see you. That's Max Allen Collins. I even made a little intro for it. So Max Allen Collins is going to do a couple of times talk about noir releases, new noir releases, because I figured, I always talk about these Warner Archive titles, and I haven't seen them. And Max said, well, I've seen some of them, and one of the ones that he talked about, or he wants to talk about, came out a couple weeks ago, which is Side Street with Farley Granger and Kathy O'Donnell. And this is a movie he really, really likes. So I asked him, I thought it'd be cool if he came on and talked about noir movies for a couple minutes, just to give us a little bit more perspective, because I get these Warner Archive titles and I figured they've been sending them to me. So you know what? George Feltenstein needs some expertise. And Max is a huge fan of Warner Archive, so I'd bring him on. Because if people are going to send me discs, I'm happy to shill for them. You know what I did not mention, Dieter? I don't think I mentioned this. Okay. I sent it to you. So Grindhouse Releasing published a newsletter. And you know what? I should call it up. Or maybe they quoted, not only did they quote me, but they put our clip. So Grindhouse Releasing, who put out The Beyond, which I said was one of the releases of the year. And by the way, they did not send me The Beyond for free, Grindhouse Releasing. I bought it. And they quoted me in their newsletter. And then not just what I said about the movie, they also included the link to the show.
Correct.
So
with the exact moment of your review.
To the exact moment. So a shout out to Grindhouse Releasing and for doing that, because I bought their disc and I wasn't. I think a lot of people think that sometimes we get sent shit for free and we'll just say it's good because we got it. We don't do that here. So I bought that disc and then they turned around and shilled for us in their newsletter. So, and I've been a fan.
Nice.
I've been a fan of Grindhouse Releasing. I still have their Cannibal Ferox laser disc from back in the day. Beautiful gatefold. I mean, at the time, the transfer was spectacular. Oh, and you know what? I believe Max Allen Collins did, in fact, he was, in fact, successful. So it's going to take me a few minutes to get him in here. But so why don't I let you speak, Dieter? Do you have more to show? Are you done?
I have more to show, actually, Rob.
Why don't you show some more shit? And I will.
Okay. The next one is already out in the UK and Germany, but I went with the US version because I like this one the most. I haven't seen the movie, still looking forward to it. I heard good things about it, but I'm still baffled with the concept of it. I bought Betterman, Robbie Williams.
Oh, I keep forgetting to buy that. I mean to buy it.
Yeah. You have this one, the fold-out that Paramount does. And it comes with 4K and the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray has the feature film and the special features, and for once, nicely printed discs, which I'm not used to when it comes to Paramount. They often look like bootlegs or pirated discs, but this one looks actually better, and I just love that cover. And I'm still looking forward to see if those monkey stuff pays off. Betterman from Paramount. Then in 4K from Shout, from Scream. What Lies Beneath. Nothing special to it.
Look, there's Max. I just wanted to show you that he's there. But back to you, Dietz.
Okay.
Sorry.
And new special features. What lies beneath. Okay, Rob. I give it over to you.
Well, hang on, everybody. We have a new feature. We just call it True Noir with, in fact, Max Allen Collins. Here we go. Welcome, Max Allen Collins, to True Noir, our segment on noir films you might know, you might not know. Max is the man. He's here to tell you about one of our favorite genres in cinema, noir.
Well, we're going to talk. You're going to talk to me, aren't you, Rob? You're not going to go off to do whatever you do during Dieter's segment.
No, I'll talk to you, but this is all about you, Max. This is about you.
Well,
give us a little history. Define noir for us.
Well, that's a very interesting question because noir. I almost said true noir. I'm sorry. It just kind of pops out. But noir is a term that everybody seems to know, and nobody seems to agree just exactly what it is. Now, my take on it is basically there's two areas. There's the area which deals with a criminal protagonist or protagonists, let's say, and then there's one that deals with a private eye or that kind of protagonist. So in the crime stuff tends to be bleaker, obviously, than the private eye stuff. But there are people, very respectable people like Otto Penciler from Mysterious Bookshop in New York, who says no private eye story is a noir story, which probably would have come as a surprise to the people like John Huston, who made the Maltese Falcon movie in 1941. I would say that era is from 41 till maybe, I don't know, 56 or so, that pure era of crime films. And, they do a lot of it was stuff that happened in the war and after the war, when there were a lot of B movies being made and people couldn't afford much in terms of art direction. And so they dressed the sets in black and white, in lighting effects, people like John Alton and so on. And getting back to the definition of noir, the private eye that I mentioned, that would be people that came from the books of people like Dashiell Hammett and Raymond Chandler and Mickey Spillane. And then you have, in terms of the criminal, that tends to be people like W.R. Burnett, who wrote Scarface and who wrote, The Asphalt Jungle, and notably James M. Cain, who wrote Postman Always Rings Twice and Double Indemnity, the famous Billy Wilder film. And so those are kind of the two areas. And today, the two pieces of physical media that I bought recently, having been alerted by your show to their existence, much to my wife's dismay, because you guys spend a lot of my money. There's no question about it. Well, and
But your wife loves Dieter. She loves the dulcet tones of his voice.
Yeah, she definitely has a crush on him, and she knows you're smarter than me, Rob. So I'm kind of left adrift in between you two guys.
I am not smarter than you. That's ridiculous.
Well, you're more erudite. You're more erudite.
That's perhaps, but I doubt. I'm a low down dirty dog as much as the two of you are.
Oh, I didn't say you were a low down dirty dog. But this is a movie called Lighthouse, and there's a couple things. This came out from Film Masters, one of a couple of companies that do interesting things in this vein, and it's only 60 minutes long. This is one that is in the vein of the James M. Cain kind of story, which often has an older man, a younger woman, and the younger woman's lover involved in some kind of thing that doesn't lead somewhere well, shall we say. Usually.
So an older man and a younger woman, which hopefully is the story of our lives moving forward. Wait, what?
No, I have a gal I've been with a long time, and I'm quite happy. Not just because I'm on TV and she might be watching.
So this movie's 60 minutes.
60 Minutes is one of these little features done by Publishers Releasing Corporation, the famous PRC, who fed little towns and movie theaters and who were second bill attractions. They were a real movie studio, but they're like of the movie studios they're something like number 11. And so you don't have huge stars. But it was a great breeding ground for people like, Anthony Mann, who we'll be talking about a little bit later. But there are some really good film noir that was made there. There was things like Bluebeard and Strange Illusion and Detour, all from the great Edgar Ulmer. And then Anthony Mann made Railroaded there, and he went on to be a major director in several genres.
So what makes Lighthouse, sets it apart?
Well, it's a very interesting picture because, the stars, Don Castle is this guy that turns up a little bit. I mean, even in bit parts, he never quite broke through. So he's got that kind of, that kind of shaggy, not quite a movie star aspect to him. I don't know much about June Lang, but the one that's the star, the female.
Yeah, show us. That's the Film Movement. Is that who put that out? Comes
Film Detective.
Film Detective, right? Film Masters. Okay, that's right. It's Film Masters. Show us the cover again. Yeah, cool.
Well, what's interesting about June Lang is she was married to Johnny Rosselli. Do you know who Johnny Rosselli was?
He sounds like he's a real Italian gangster.
Yes, he was basically the Chicago outfit's connection to L.A. And he was a producer at Monogram, among a lot of other things. He was the guy that taught Las Vegas how to do skimming well.
Wow.
And she was his wife. They didn't stay together, and eventually Johnny turned up in 1976 in a 55-gallon steel drum. In not Biscayne Bay, but one of the bays there near Miami. It's kind of fascinating how, in particular, these lower budget movies, some of the people that appear in them have these weird film noir in their lives connections, like the guy who starred in Detour, Tom Neal, who was this Barbara Payton's boyfriend. I mean, I don't know how you get much more film noir than Barbara Payton and Tom Neal, and they toured in the Post Malloy's rigs twice, if you can believe it. And Tom Neal is well known for beating the shit out of Franchot Tone. So this film noir stuff bleeds into some of the films themselves.
So this movie, the ad line says, "Men of the sea living precariously and loving recklessly." What is this movie actually about?
Well, the budget isn't big enough for them to do much precarious anything, because it's basically a three-hander. There's a couple of people, maybe the cast has 6 people in it, but the situation is interesting because the character played by June Lang is having this affair with this guy who she knows is married, played by Don Castle. And they go to the sleaziest bar you've ever seen in your life. And that's where they hang out. And this is on the weekends, and they get together, and he keeps telling her that he's going to get a divorce from his wife. And then they can be together. This may be a familiar theme in a number of your viewers' lives. And
no, we're all people that are upstanding. We don't know anything about that.
Well, now this sleazy guy that she's having the affair with is this kind of the second in command, the flunky at the lighthouse. And the lighthouse is run by a very nice older man, played by John Littell, who is this actor that was in hundreds of movies. He was both Nancy Drew's father and Henry Aldrich's father, which says he was, so he's wholesome. He's a wholesome guy when he isn't playing villains. But he's not a villain here. He's a wholesome guy. And he's very nice. And basically what the premise is, the young woman, marries the older man to spite the younger man.
Wow.
And then the fun ensues. So
she's a real bitch.
She's kind of nice. She's kind of naive. It's, when she goes to the lighthouse for the first time, and I forget why she goes there, and the young guy isn't around, she goes over to where the young guy sleeps, and his wife's picture is on the wall. I mean, it's just it's bizarre, but it's a nice twist on Postman Always Rings Twice, where John Garfield and Lana Turner are having the affair, and I forget what the older actor's name is. But this really flips that a little bit, and the younger woman eventually kind of falls in love with the older guy. So they do a lot. They take the same basic premise and they twist it around in a real interesting way. Not a great movie, but I mean, I don't know how some of you are out there, but I'm always looking for a movie that isn't incredibly long, that isn't 3 hours like the Mission Impossible movie. So here's a 60-minute movie. I can watch this and then, I can go to bed, whatever, but I don't have, it's not the middle of the night. I mean, I hate to think of the long nights of watching junky films that Dieter has put himself through.
Now, that's not fair.
Nights.
Wait a minute, Dieter. What do you have to say to that?
Well, sometimes you have to take one for the team.
That's exactly it. Now the other movie, Dieter, since you're on my screen, I'll talk to you instead of him. Is a major film noir. I would say it's Side Street. That's an Anthony Mann film, and we talked about the fact that Anthony Mann began, at PRC and Eagle Lion, I think, where he is making some really pretty good, very good film noir. He was a co-director of He Walked by Night, for example.
Now, this just got released by George Felsenstein and the boys and girls over at Warner Archive. This film looks, the transfer again, it looks tremendous. Have you watched?
Great.
You've watched, so you've seen the new disc.
Oh yeah, it's a great disc, and as is always the case with, well, not always, but most of the time they load it up with things like a couple of cartoons, and there's a Crime Does Not Pay episode on here, but it's a really good movie. It's a good example of these documentary style crime movies that were made for a while in the late 40s, early 50s. And significantly, this comes out a year later than Naked City.
Wow.
Now, Naked City, of course, spawned a great TV show, which it had in the sixth.
There are 10,000 stories in the Naked City.
8,000 stories.
Sorry, that's what I said. 8,000 stories in the Naked City.
And all you have to do is listen, right?
That's right.
Is that
This
right?
is but one.
So anyway, Side Street is very similar to Naked City. It's set in New York. A lot of almost exclusively on locations.
Oh, wow.
And I would say, and it's a year after the Naked City, and Naked City was a hugely popular movie. So this fed into this whole kind of craze for docudramas where they're really doing a lot of location shooting, and it's very interesting. The screenwriters is quite good. His name was Stanley Boom, but he did things like When Worlds Collide.
Wow.
Which is a movie I know you're familiar with.
I've seen it.
And
One of my favorite movies of all time. My first favorite movie when I was 5 years old.
And you know what else he wrote? The Big Heat.
Oh, wow.
That's about as good as you get in the noir catalog. And I think that's either come out or going to be coming out soon from Criterion.
Yeah.
In 4K. Great Glenn Ford, Gloria Graham movie. And it's directed by someone you may have heard of, Fritz Lang. So
yes, indeed.
So we're really in a. This is sort of like this is a very star-filled bunch of. If you look at Side Street and you're at all into older movies, and not that old, late 40s, early 50s, you will recognize a dozen people. You'll go, oh, it's that guy, and a lot of times you'll even know who they are, and so that's pretty exciting just to watch it. And Farley Granger is a major noir player. I mean, we're talking about the guy that Hitchcock used in Rope,
yeah,
and he also used in A Strangers on a Train, and then he'd been in They Live by Night with the same co-star, Kathy O'Donnell, and this is an example of the. Almost said this is an example of smartness, like the guy says in The Producers when he realizes he's about to blow the place up. But he was. I forgot my train of thought. There it went. I'm sorry. I apologize. I got off on a side street. You see how I brought it around? Side street.
I do see. I marvel. I marvel at how you did that. By the way, Tom Jr. Jackson, our great moderator, asks, is The Thin Man noir?
I would say it is. Now, not every entry in the series is. Shadow, there's one called The Shadow of the Thin Man that is a little bit more overtly noir. It's a hard call because it is Dashiell Hammett. And Hammett is one of the fathers of noir. There's no question about that. But it's really in the eye of the beholder. If you think about noir in terms of the lighting, the dramatic lighting, well, look at Maltese Falcon, 1941. It isn't really that stylish. It's kind of meat and potatoes. I mean, I hate to say that, but it is kind of a meat and potatoes kind of movie. It's the performances. It's the camera placement. I'm not playing that down, but they're certainly not going for a lot of dark shadows and that kind of mood. And if the Maltese Falcon isn't film noir, I don't know what is.
So you would recommend everyone pick this up? I mean, these movies aren't that expensive. The encoding on these Warner Archive titles is amazing. So if people want to begin their journey with noir films, would you suggest Side Street being one of them?
I think Side Street is a good one, and it is an example of not the private eye, but the crime side. This is a kind of typical, a guy gets into a jam, and then he tries to get himself out of the jam as the movie goes along, while the cops are pursuing it. And so we're seeing a lot of locations in New York that are very, very interesting. And you're being taken by Anthony Mann, who is a great director. I think the thing that he's probably best known for and is most celebrated for are the 5 Westerns he made with James Stewart. And those are very noir Westerns.
So Westerns can be noir.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And what were those 5 Westerns, or what were a few of them? If you know, I don't want to put you on the spot.
He had just made Winchester 70, Winchester 73
right.
with Stewart. He's going to make The Naked Spur, which I believe has Ralph Meeker, who's my camera, as you know, and Kiss Me Deadly.
Yeah.
And so there's all of these. It's very similar, I would say, to the Bud Boddicker, Randolph Scott group of Westerns.
Yep.
And you can't go wrong with an Anthony Mann, James Stewart Western. You just can't.
Well, Max, I want to thank you for being here and doing this new segment with us, which we're going to do as a recurring thing, where you're going to look at these older movies that we get that are coming out. And so I want to thank you for doing that. But I want to keep you here because we have some questions that I think the 3 of us. So this is our first True Noir segment, brought to you by True Noir, our ongoing IP. You can get the audio drama at truenoir.co. I always play clips from it that you, of course, wrote, adapting your own novel, True Detective.
Well, is it okay if I mention what we'll look at next time?
Please do. What are you going to take a look at next time?
I'm going to, and again, this is I have a pretty broad definition of noir, but Eureka recently released, and I think you showed on air maybe just a week or 2 ago, their Terror in the Fog box set, which is Edgar Wallace and Brian Edgar Wallace, his son, did all these novels and things. And there's 6 in it, and I'm 2 away from the last, from having watched the whole set. So we can talk about that, I think, really strong box set next time.
Well, that's great. Thank you for being here, Max. And now we're ending our True Noir segment, and we're moving over to questions. We have questions for all of us. And
by the way, I thought that was a terrific segment that you guys just showed. It's out of this world.
It was fantastic. Did you like that?
Yeah, I liked it.
That's good.
I think it's a regular thing.
Could be. You know, it depends what the people at home say, if they want more of you or not. I mean, I have no control over that. A lot of people, you know, might think it's just crazy shilling for our audio drama, which it is. So,
and I do have to warn you, as far as judging the audience, I used to just get hit in the face a lot. And
well, yeah, but when people see your wife, it was worth it.
They're jealous.
They're jealous. Now, I've got a question. We have another Agent Silver Fox asks, what is our favorite trilogy of movies? Dieter, I would pose this to you. What is your favorite?
Always the top of the head answers. Favorite trilogy. You know, we always have those movies that had kind of the fourth one. If you can rule that perhaps out.
Yeah, but at one point it was only a trilogy. So you can say, if there's a 4th or a 5th or a 6th one, you could say, you know.
Yeah. And I read that question already, and Tim Henn said, if we take Toy Story 4 out of it, perhaps the Toy Story trilogy is pretty strong.
It's good. It's a good trilogy.
But it's even perhaps a little bit an obvious choice, the Toy Story, not a trilogy. Help me out, Rob. Give me some ideas.
I can't help you out.
Trilogy.
Okay, Max has one.
The Dollar Trilogy. The Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I don't think they come much better than that.
Hence, Arrow's release this week of their beautiful box set of A Fistful of Dollars. And
just
as I was saying,
that box of my stuff that you're going to send me some.
No, you don't. You don't get this. You don't get this. Although, you know, some of your box is right here.
I think as much as controversial the third one is, I think the Alien movies, Alien 1, 2.
These are all from your box.
Oh yeah,
these are all from your box.
Nice.
He's such a Dieter. He's such a tease.
Look at this:
Such
The Conqueror, The Substance, The Third Man, Steelbook, Stir of Echoes, Long Kiss Goodnight. You know, a lot of stuff in there. But yes, Quentin Tarantino agrees with you. Quentin Tarantino says that the Man with No Name trilogy is the greatest. Now, let me ask you guys this. Obviously, film trilogies were not planned as trilogies. You know, they happened, and we call them trilogies.
Or they say, Rob, it was planned. You know,
Right. I mean, I think and Lord of the Rings, I don't count Lord of the Rings as a trilogy because it was all written. It was all based on what, I mean, the Lord of the Rings books, theoretically, yes, Lord of the Rings is a trilogy, but I don't think of it as a trilogy, a cinema trilogy, because it was planned. I think the Lord of the Rings is one thing. It's one long story that was broken up over 3 novels. So it's not so much a trilogy. I would dare say that if you want to call it that, it's one of the greatest ever made in terms of films. But it was based on a previously existing thing. I think a trilogy of movies has to be originally conceived as movies. You know, they can't look, Die Hard is based on a book, Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe. Mm-hmm. Die Hard 2 was a adaptation of a screenplay called 58 Minutes, if memory serves. And then Die Hard with a Vengeance was based on a script called Simon Says. So you could say that I think that Die Hard, before they made Live Free or Die Hard and A Good Day to Die Hard, I think the Die Hard movies as a film trilogy are pretty strong for what they are. The first 3. So I would say those are great. But my favorite trilogy remains, I love The Godfather 1, 2, and yes, Godfather 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Godfather 3 has a few elements in it that aren't great. Like, obviously, Sofia Coppola, and I think the Sofia Coppola romance with Andy Garcia with Sonny's Bastard is a little, you know, there's elements in there. But the entire story of Michael Corleone in that movie, with trying to take the family legitimate international immobiliare, the fact that the old European, the church, and and what he's up against and what ends up happening to him is great. Don Altabello, it was nominated for Best Picture, and as a West Coast rapper said in the first season of The Sopranos, and Godfather 3, it's just misunderstood. And I think that while it's not perfect, I love all 3 of those movies together because of Michael Corleone's journey and where it leaves him, which is ultimately incredibly tragic. So
Can I take you back to Die Hard again?
Yeah.
Do you know what movie is the prequel to Die Hard?
The Detective.
Attaboy!
Come on, buddy.
Very good. Very good.
With Frank Sinatra.
Absolutely. So you've got Frank Sinatra and Bruce Willis. Okay, let me give you another. This is my trivia contest, Dieter. Okay, because I mean, you know, you're trying to do Star Trek with this guy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Just try to do Star Trek with him. I lost my train of thought again.
You were going to ask about trivia, something to do with the detective, Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
Okay. What movie was Frank Sinatra supposed to star in that became a major series of movies?
I don't know.
He was originally supposed to play Dirty Harry.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Isn't that and imagine? Yeah.
Look at that, the new transfer. I got to get those, man. By the way, Major Chai Chai says, "Hi, Max. Thanks for classing up this live stream."
My pleasure.
Are you saying these live streams aren't classy?
I wonder why.
That's like in Animal House. Don't flatter yourself, Otter. It wasn't that great. Anyway, I'm just thinking that because I
Dieter,
interviewed.
how does it feel to have the least cluttered background of the three of us?
He can have cluttered. What do you think about? You just can't see what's off screen in Dieter's room. There.
Correct. Rob told me just the proscenium of the frame. What's beside that? We leave to your imagination.
By the way, Cammie Egan has a great. She sends in a super chat and says the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy was pretty terrific.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know what? The funny thing is, I really do love the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, but The Dark Knight Rises doesn't make a lick of sense. If you start, like, if you watch that movie, the police have been underground for like 100 days. They're not allowed to escape. And when Batman comes back, somehow he takes the time. Okay, I've returned to Gotham City. I'm going to put this burning symbol, bat symbol, on this bridge just because I need to announce that I'm back.
Looks cool.
I know. but it and as much I do like it though. I do, because it's epic. There's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne. I mean, what's not to love? So
I mean, I don't think there's any. I don't think you have to apologize for any movie you like. I really don't.
Well, I don't think nobody should.
No,
especially if you're on this show.
Exactly.
Right. I mean,
and if you like Mission Impossible 8, great.
Between what we buy, between what all of us purchase, and the things that we buy. Speaking of which, we are caught up. Hang on, let me look and make sure that. I want to make sure that we're not missing. Stubble McShave has sent in a tip and says, I just watched Scorsese's concert movie, The Last Waltz, featuring the band with guest artists. It must be one of the greatest concert movies of all time. I will surely get it in 4K when I get a new 4K player. It is truly one of the great concert movies of all time. What do you think of that? Being that people might not know, but Max used to be in a rock band called Seduction of the Innocent that played at Comic-Con. Max is a man of many talents. He's a jack of all trades and master of them all. True, of them too. So
I also in the Midwest I played with in a band. It was my band really called Cruisin'. That was the first '60s retro band in the Midwest, and we became this first '60s retro band because we didn't like anything that was on the radio right now. So I said, let's play the old list.
Wow.
became innovators, but I think it's tough. I do think Woodstock's a pretty rockin'. That's quite a rock documentary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's good. By the way, Adventure Square, not to be self-serving and shilling, but hey, this is somebody else. Adventure Square says, the true noir audio drama is so immersive and compelling, I had to binge it. Amazing storytelling. I hope the untold Heller stories make it a trilogy.
I was hoping for a quintet.
Chop again.
I mean, let's the man right here. We got to do the Nitty trilogy, which is true crime, and then.
Speaking of trilogies, yeah.
Speaking of trilogies, and then we've got the $1 Million Wound.
$1 Million Wound is. I'm really proud of that one because it. I mentioned Private Eyes, and Private Eyes have a lot of tropes, as you know. And one of the tropes is that the private eye was always in some war that traumatized him. And our friend Nate Heller, who you and I know very well, Rob, he actually goes to Guadalcanal, and is traumatized, and we find out how that happened. I mean, my private eye had a Section 8. I mean, he was taken out of the service. By the way, apropos of nothing, Dieter, I gotta turn this way. No, I don't know how to do this on this screen. But Dieter, one of the movies I'm going to do the next time from this box set stars a guy named Dieter.
Okay,
that's all I can say. And I'm very. I don't want to know now, but I'm very anxious to know we haven't heard anything from you about what you think the Mabusa set and whether or not how you feel about the Krimis. Am I saying that correctly?
The Krimis, correct? That is the correct term here in Germany. They were pretty big, especially the Edgar Wallace movies. I remember from seeing back in my childhood, back in the days. So, but I'm not sure how I would watch them today. You know, if they still would hold up for me. You know.
Well, it's interesting because we were talking about noir earlier, and the noir term comes from a book publisher that did Gallimard, who did série noire with black covers and mostly American authors. The Krimis did pretty much the same thing in Germany, and then
Correct.
and the Giallos did the same thing in Italy. So you have the three terms for these genres come from the books that fed them, basically, because all of these movies are fed by books, which is something that that Rob and I love dearly. We love books dearly, which not everybody does.
Not everybody does. We have
this day and age.
What's that?
Not in this day and age.
Not in this day and age.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. Now, we have somebody. There's another super chat here that.
But I love to hear you say that you like the Krimis.
Oh yeah. Let me just go back up here and says Secular Monk says that True Noir needs to be a TV show or a movie. Well,
movie, what a night! That's an incredibly good idea.
Well, now I'm going to show something. Now
that came out of nowhere.
Everyone has heard me talk about screenplays. Like if you want to be a screenwriter, the cover page, the title, the first page, your cover page should just say the title of the movie in 12-point Courier with the author's name, unless of course it's already with people that are making the movie. So I would show this. This just happens to be something that's sitting here on my desk. This is the title page for something called True Noir, Dying in the Post-War World. And as you can see, it says, by the way, this logo was designed by Bartos, who has designed all the work for True Noir, the audio drama. And it says screenplay by Max Allan Collins based on his novella. And this movie, I'm just going to say it, is going to go into production in February, the last week of February of 2026, because why not? Who says it's not? So what is this? Oh, it's already been written. It's already written. Max, what is True Noir dying in the post-war world? What is it?
Well, as you know, and some of your audience knows who've read some of the books, basic premise of Nate Heller is that he looks at unsolved or controversially solved real crimes in history. So, what happened with Anton Cermak? Was he really the just collateral damage from somebody who wanted to kill FDR? So we look at that, and what happened at Roswell? What happened to Amelia Earhart? What were the circumstances of the assassination of Huey Long? This is the at the time at least very famous lipstick murders. A guy named William Aaron, kind of a JD type, kind of a looking guy. He went down for all of the crimes, and Dying the Post-War World looks at whether or not he went down for more crimes than he committed, and that some other people did the other crimes.
Now, what were the crimes? What you got to give us a little taste. The lipstick murders. I've been telling people this is a cross between David Fincher's Seven and L.A. Confidential, but it's set in Chicago. There's a lot of lurid Lynchian things that happen in this story, are there not?
You talking about little girl having her head cut off. Is that maybe what you're talking?
That's part. Yeah, sure, that's there. If you want to go there, yeah.
And that they had to fish her head out of a sewer with a broomstick handle.
Yeah, there's that.
Dismemberment. Unidentified substances left on the floor near the body.
Boy. Yeah, this has got some lurid stuff in it. But you called me up one day, and you obviously the idea would be to do multiple audio dramas with the idea that we would use it. I hope we still will. No, we will for sure. But then leading into what we would want to do is obviously I would like to see this be a streaming series, and the first audio drama is set in 1932 and 33, and then we move forward through the 30s and into the 40s. This is set in 1947, and then we do the TV series in the late 50s and into the 60s with that kind of Mad Men, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel look to it, that production value, and that would always be the thing. But what I loved is you called me up one day and you said, "Hey, how would you like? I wrote this novella, and how would you like a screenplay from it?" I'm like, "Really? Yes, I would." And you cranked this out, and I was reading this, going, "Well, we got to make this. Let's go make."
Well, I don't make anything out. I come on now.
I'm joking. No, you wrote a superlative screenplay in. I mean, you did adapt your own novel again, so it's you didn't just crank it out.
That's true. Yeah, it was actually written originally with my friend Miguel Ferrer in mind. You mentioned Seduction of the Innocent.
Yeah,
and Miguel, I played in the band with Mumi, another great friend of mine, and Steve Lealoha, and Chris Christensen, and. Miguel was a huge fan of the Nathan Heller books, and
Miguel was in RoboCop and Star Trek II and Tony Scott's Revenge,
and a bunch of TV stuff,
and tons of TV stuff.
Lead. And we were good pals, and it didn't come to pass. There's a kind of funny story which I won't tell, but sometime we can talk about this particular. I worked on this screenplay and. Well, let me just tell it without any names. Okay. I write the screenplay for Miguel. He has a successful Hollywood person that he's working with. And I write it and I bring it out there for them, fly out on my own expense, hand him the novella. And this guy says, "I think I'd rather make a Western."
That quick?
Yeah. He hadn't read any of it. And then he said, "Let's all go to the Gene Autry Museum and soak up the stuff that we can get off." And I'm sitting there thinking, I haven't washed the ink off my fingers yet. Gene Autry Museum. So anyway, and it was published. It's published. I should get a copy of the. My wife is the cover girl of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's the Marilyn Monroe figure on that, because again, Heller goes all the way to, the Robert F. Kennedy assassination. I mean, he moves all the way through the second half of more than the second half of the 20th. And that's been, while it's hard work, it's a joy to be able to dig into some of these things. The Lindbergh kidnapping and, just because there's a lot of, as I say, unanswered or universally answered questions.
And I think that's the cool story, the cool premise of the whole Nathan Heller franchise is it deals with these questionable outcomes, and you get to deal with actual physical or actual historical events. So people can go back and read what really happened, but you've also fictionalized them and made them. It's a really interesting approach. I mean, I really do love the approach that you took, and it makes it. They're great. The stories are so great. I mean, I do love them.
a really important element is that they are in the first person, very much in the Chandler, Spillane kind of feel, without going over the top. Because I want him to be a real guy. I really want him to be a real guy. That's why, I took him to Guadalcanal, and I did these things that are always off stage in Private Eye novels. And I am so thrilled with, and I know you're incredibly pleased too, because you directed him. But Michael Rosenbaum, the way he brings Nathan Heller to life and brings the humanity to this character, the humor, the occasional rage, the way he feels about women, he loves them basically. And I can't say enough about Michael Rosenbaum and the job that he did for you and for me.
Oh yeah, I mean, guy's incredible. And if anybody asks the question, yes, if we get this movie, no, when we get our movie off the ground, would we have Michael Rosenbaum coming back? Well, we have not had any kind of official discussions asking him to be in a movie, but I mean, he knows the script exists, and we would absolutely want to make the movie with him playing Nathan Heller.
He reacted very well. Rob, looking for a director. Are you interested?
You couldn't keep me from it. So, I mean, I've already started all that work along with our fellow producer, Phil Dingledine, who I had a lovely conversation with. And Phil...
You painted the opening for me. I couldn't believe how vivid the opening was.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny because, I tend to, when I read... Because I've been reading scripts for... I've never been afforded an opportunity to really show, I think, what I can do. I mean, I've made one movie that Dieter hates, so how good am I doing? But
no, not hate, Rob. Hate is a way too strong word. No,
which, by the way, somebody asked about.
Enterprise.
We might have movement on getting Free Enterprise on 4K. I can't promise anything, but
that'd be great.
We might.
I am that movie.
Yeah, and it's going to be even better when I get to put it on 4K because I'm gonna Lucas it even more and put some more visual effects in it and just spruce it up a bit. But I think with True Noir,
told me he's going to add in some characters and some really dumb action and some nudity. Much more.
Okay.
no, well, there's a little bit of nudity.
I want you to that, Max.
Do you know that this is an interesting fact that people don't know? But Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds' wife, who I, by the way, like, her sister is in Free Enterprise. Her sister Lori, her older sister, and she is topless. Just saying. And that was 25 years ago, and Lori still looks beautiful. She's a beautiful, beautiful girl. She was great.
Has anybody ever said there's too much nudity in this movie?
Never.
I mean, I don't think that's one that comes up much.
No. But hey, would you want to stick around while we do the news?
Oh, you haven't done the news yet?
No.
Oh, I would. I'll be just a quiet little mouse and watch.
Well, you are always complaining, like, we always show things that you want to buy. So,
Well, I can say, not going to get that one. I'm going to get that one. If you want me to do that, I'll be glad to.
Well, that could be really annoying if you did it all the time, but please chime in. What do you want to chime in? Now,
I've been accused of being really annoying before. Not the first time.
Well, let's start the news. Now, what was really interesting, one of my favorite YouTubers in the physical media space is, in fact, Elliot Cohen in the UK. I mean, Elliot Cohen, to me, is the smartest and most erudite of all of our because when he says, "Hello, dear viewer," I mean, he just comforts me with his voice. But he did a really funny video this week when he talked about, I think the headline says something to the effect of, Criterion finally goes back to being Criterion. And I thought that was pretty funny because, as you'll see from Criterion's August release slate, Criterion is going to Criterion, and their Criterion as hard as they can Criterion with their releases of the month of August, because they've been doing well. But now here's Criterion's August release slate. The first of the being, actually, this is good. Vittorio De Sica's Shoeshine. It's an international breakthrough for neorealism. Vittorio De Sica's Academy Award-winning film is an indelible fable of innocence lost amid the hard-scrabble reality of 1940s Italy. On the streets of Rome, two boys, best friends Giuseppe and Pasquale, set out to raise the money to buy a horse by shining shoes. And when they are inadvertently caught up in a robbery and sent to a brutal juvenile detention center, their loyalty to each other is severely tested. It's a devastating portrait of economic struggle, made all the more haunting by its child-eyes perspective. Shoeshine stands as one of the defining achievements of post-war Italian filmmaking. This movie I can get behind because it's great, and I will absolutely buy it. And then we have Kon Ichikawa's Fires of the Plain, which, of course, has been released before, but it's an agonizing portrait of desperate Japanese soldiers stranded on a strange land during World War II. And Fires on the Plain is a compelling descent into psychological and physical oblivion. Denied hospital treatment for tuberculosis and cast off into the unknown, Private Tamura treks across an unfamiliar Philippine landscape, encountering an increasingly debased cross-section of Imperial Army soldiers, who eventually give in to the most terrifying craving of all. Grisly yet poetic, Fires on the Plain is one of the most powerful works from one of Japanese most versatile filmmakers. And then also, we get The Burmese Harp, which is another Kon Ichikawa film. And this is an Imperial Japanese Army regiment surrenders to British forces in Burma. So you've got, and by the way, I make fun, but these are both amazing movies. But they're, these are what Criterion is known for releasing. So it makes sense they've released these before, but these are great movies. And so here you go. And then we've got, this is a great cover. And then we've got Cairo Station, and this is a new restoration of the film, and it's considered one of the most celebrated works in all of Arab cinema. And the director himself stars as Kanawe, a disabled newspaper hawker whose obsession with a sultry drink seller. Hindi Rostam, known as the Marilyn Monroe of Arabia, leads to tragedy of operatic proportions on the streets of Cairo, blending elements of neorealism with provocative neo-noir melodrama, or actually just noir melodrama. Cairo Station is a work of raw populist poetry. So there you go. And then we've got Compensation is coming out. The Confusion, actually, this is the Confusion, and Mahjong, two films by Edward Yang. And so that's pretty interesting. Actually, that's not what this is. I didn't put up the actual disc for that. I apologize. This is not that. I don't have it, but it's coming out. I forgot to put that disc up there. But that's coming out as well. This, actually, Compensation, is a poignant portrait of a deaf African-American and the complexity of love at both ends of the 20th century. It's a groundbreaking story of inclusion and visibility. In dual performances, Michelle Banks and John Earl Jeeks play an educated dressmaker and an illiterate migrant in 1910 Chicago. So there you go, Max. I've never seen this movie and don't know anything about it, but I would like to see it because it takes place in Chicago in 1910. And then we have Saving Face. It's a quieter romantic comedy set in vibrant multicultural New York. Alice Wu's irresistible feature debut breathed fresh life into the genre by combining snappy dialogue and a swooning love story with a poignant narrative and a mother and daughter coming to terms with each other. So there you go. This is a very Criterion list. I can see that, Dieter, you're probably pre-ordering all of these now.
Oh, I let Elliot Cohen go first on that one.
Do you? Okay. Well, now we'll get back into something you might like. Earthquake, everybody. Universal Studios 1974 sense-around banger, Earthquake, a movie that loomed large in my childhood fantasies. My parents would not take me to see it in Sense-Around. I saw it in Sense-Around later. And this is a Blu-ray steelbook. Shake, rattle, and roll. If you need to know what this movie is about, well, then, who are you? Everyone, all you need to know is that Marjo Gortner is in it. Yeah, I mean, it's great. You've got like Ava Gardner and Lauren Green, and Ava Gardner is supposed to be like Lauren Green's daughter. Which, how does that work, Max? I don't know, but hey.
Well, anything with Richard Roundtree in it, I'm gonna get.
And Richard Roundtree is awesome in this movie. Victoria Principal's in this movie, and hey, this is an Academy Award-winning film. It won for special effects and sound. Look at this steelbook. It looks like an asylum movie. Who doesn't want this? We all want this. I know you want it, Dieter. So there you go. And speaking of concert movies, we got Blur. Blur to the End is coming out, and this has a lot of cool stuff on it. I like Blur. And this also has a concert film, Blur at Wembley Stadium. So that's fairly exciting. So why not? Let's get that. Now we've got this from This is a movie and a concert together. Yes, it is. It includes the concert film. Why are you cut off? Oh, I can only do you and Matt. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can get you both in here. So yes, it is a movie and a concert. Well, it's a documentary and a concert is what it is.
Okay.
And then we've got something more your speed. Bohachi Bushido, Code of the Forgotten Eight. This comes out to us from Mondo Macabro, and this is from 1973. And this comes out July 8th. And who doesn't want this? It's full of flying limbs, naked lady ninjas, drug-induced hallucinations, crackling villains, and wild action set pieces. Bohachi Bushido is one of director Taro Ishii's most deranged and impressive spectacles. We are extremely excited to bring you the World HD disc debut of this incredible cult film and a brand new exclusive 4K restoration with many extras. I mean, you had me at naked. It really says that in the description. Naked lady ninjas. That combines two of my favorite things. Naked ladies and ninjas.
Coincidentally, that I dreamed that last night.
That's. I mean, I don't doubt that you in fact did dream that, and I think that that's the kind of thing that we all need in our lives. To be honest,
cleanser from the noir stuff. Okay.
There you go. Now we've got this film that I don't know much about, but it's coming out from Kino Lorber. And it's Jean Becker's A Man Called Roca, starring Jean-Paul Belmondo, of course. And after his friend is framed for murder, a former gangster travels to Marseille to take some old-fashioned revenge and his own piece of the action. And this is a new 4K restoration, but it's not in 4K. But hey, what's not to love about that? Coming out from Kino. Then we've got Ash, which you've seen,
nice,
Dieter, and cosmic,
nice.
Cosmic horror. Who doesn't want to see that? Yeah. And then coming from our friends in Australia at Imprint, Bewitched, seasons 5 and 6 is coming out, and then we have The Pusher, not to be confused with the Ice-T song, but this is from 1960. This is coming from MGM, and Robert Lansing is in this movie, which, you got to love Robert Lansing. This looks like a noir title. Hard-boiled New York City detective and his partner investigate the overdose of a young man, only to discover that the crime involved may have been murder, and the drug trade might have been involved. And
Rob, that's based on an 87th Precinct novel.
Oh, an Ed McBain novel.
Ed McBain. And Robert Lansing is playing the same character that he played on the 87th Precinct TV show, which was subsequent to this.
Well, see, that's why you're here. I wouldn't have known that. That's what we need. Now, here comes a really inclusive film that's been released in many, many forms, but, it never gets old. And, we talk a lot about girl power. Well, Girl Slaves of Morgan Le Fay. I mean, what's not to love? Again, from Mondo Macabro. God bless these people. This is from 1971. It's kind of a famous movie. And, of course, driving in their car through France one summer, two young girls find themselves trapped in the kingdom of the mythic Morgana, Queen of the Witches, ever since Merlin taught her his skills centuries ago. So this is like a sequel to Excalibur. Morgana has gone on living by obtaining the souls of young women who pass through her kingdom. In exchange, she gives the captives who agree to her pact eternal youth and beauty. Those who refuse grow old and ugly in the dungeons of her castle. In its original release, this classic of erotic horror was heavily censored. It is presented here uncut, fully restored, and it's a brand new 4K scan from the original negative. A lot of exclusive extras. Who doesn't want this? Trapped by the Queen of Evil with only her body to save her. Talk about dreams. I had this dream last night too, actually, Max. So yeah, there we go. And then next we've got, can you believe Billy Madison coming out from Kino? This is the 30th anniversary of Billy Madison. 30 years of Billy Madison. I can't believe this movie's 30 years old. But what can you do? Now, Lionsgate Limited. I don't know if Lionsgate or Lionsgate Limited is putting this out. I have to look into this. Law Abiding Citizen is coming out from Lionsgate. Now, this is a steelbook, and it doesn't say Lionsgate Limited. It says Lionsgate Home Entertainment. But, of course, I like this movie. It is a new 4K restoration of the film. I'll have to call Lisa and find out if this is Lionsgate Limited or if it's regular Lionsgate. We'll find out soon enough. Here you go, Max. Proud Rebel with Alan Ladd and Olivia de Havilland. A Western coming out from Classic Flicks. And so, this is an exclusive giveaway, but it is coming out. And, or you can go to Classic Flicks and enter a contest. Maybe it's already out. I don't know. But
Love
it's
Classic Flicks.
Yeah, they're great. Now this is a great looking. This is a great looking. Actually, I've skipped some things here. I didn't mean to skip some things.
Okay.
But I accidentally did. The Colors Within. Why not? Another great anime title. I'd love to see this and get this. It looks great. And so, what is not to love? Hey, coming out.
Rob, what was the other anime not today that you showed? The Wolf Kids something that you wanted to get. It wasn't that one, but I can't remember the title.
I don't know. We got a German disc here. Look at this, Riefenstahl. About the life of Riefenstahl. So
correctly said, Rob.
Do you like that?
Said.
Did I get it right? A Riefenstahl.
That's right, Rob. Not Reif, but
not Reif, but Riefenstahl. You know, because I wouldn't want to.
Like you said, Dieter. Correct.
Yeah, and the way things are going, you know, might as well pick this up because why not? You know, hey, but you know, Lenny, is that right? How do you actually? I mean, her name. How do you pronounce her name correctly? Her first name.
Riefenstahl.
But is it Lenny Riefenstahl? Is it that? Her first, because it's
Leni.
Leni. So it's Leni. Okay, Leni Riefenstahl. And then this is pretty interesting.
What is that label, Rob? I can't figure out that label.
The one that's releasing it. It is. That's a good question. It's coming out from Dog Woof. I'm not kidding. Dog Woof.
Okay.
Dog Woof.
Never heard of that label.
Yeah, Dog Woof. So, by the way, The Colors Within is a 2024 movie. Then this is an interesting one. Trouble Every Day. I actually saw this movie at Sigis. This is kind of an interesting it's a female horror film. And Eureka is putting this out, and it's by Claire Denis. And isn't Claire Denis? I think she's a woman. I hope so. And the first excursion into genre cinema by the celebrated French auteur Claire Denis, who had made her name with her previous features Chocolat and Beau Travail. Trouble Every Day is an erotically charged exploration of our darkest human desires and a key film in the development of what later came to be known as the New French Extremity Movement. And Dr. Shane Brown and his new wife, June, are honeymooning in Paris. Though Shane has other plans for their trip, he is hoping to track down his former medical colleague and discuss a past study into the human libido, but Leo doesn't want to be found. He is living in obscurity to hide his own wife, Cor, who has developed an insatiable cannibalistic lust as a result of Leo's outlandish experiments, a lust that Shane is beginning to feel too. A dark and lyrical rumination on the pleasures of the flesh. Trouble Every Day is a remarkable work of extreme cinema that challenged critics and audiences upon release, but before it became to be lauded as a modern classic. Now, let me ask you, Dieter, I know this is a highbrow movie, but are you going to buy it?
Rob, you wouldn't believe it. It's already pre-ordered.
Oh.
Even before you had it in the news section.
Oh, okay. My boy.
Because I got the email from Eureka about the title, and I thought, no, that looks interesting. Okay, we'll pre-order that.
Well,
have it on pre-order, Rob.
That's good. Now, here's a title I thought was already out, and I'm going to admit I've been looking for this title, and for whatever reason, you can't get it. It was really expensive, but I guess it's being re-released. Cafe Flesh. Yes, this is an X-rated movie, but it is a post-apocalyptic X-rated movie, and Mondo Macabro is putting this out. We've talked about it before in the news, but truly one of the most delirious film experiences you can have. Cafe Flesh is a dystopian sci-fi offering from one of American cinema's true originals, this time 5 years after a nuclear apocalypse. The survivors, post-nuke thrill freaks looking for a kick, able to exist, to sense, to feel everything accepting pleasure. In a world destroyed, survivors break down to those who can and those who can't. 99% are sex negatives. Call them erotic casualties. They want to make love, but the mere touch of another person makes them violently ill. The rest, the lucky 1%, are sex positives whose libidos escaped unscathed. After the nuclear kiss, positives remain to love, to perform, and the others can only watch, can only come to the Cafe Flesh. It's a legendary film, as fresh and entertaining today as it was when it was first released in 1982. Its unique visual style.
Movies that they released back in the day.
And there's a new 4K restoration. Now this is straight up porn, just so everybody knows. I mean, I want to be clear about that. And I will unapologetically buy it, because why not? And then we go to From Cafe Flesh to All of Me. Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin and Carl Reiner's All of Me. Lionsgate's putting this out under their Vestron label. And I like this movie. And it's like never been out in HD, apparently. So Lionsgate's putting it out. How fun is that? I would say it's pretty fun. Why not get
under the Vestron
All
series.
of Me? Yeah, under their, and I love that they've revived it. They've revived the Vestron series, which is great. And then we get, I'm surprised this isn't out yet, but Silent Scream from 1979, starring Cameron Mitchell and Barbara Steele and Yvonne DiCarlo. This is, came out right in the slasher movement, but this really isn't a slasher movie. But anyway, I think it's worth seeing. And this is a new 4K restoration from the original camera negative. And there's all kinds of great stuff on it. And there's commentary by everybody. And there is audio commentary by Barbara Steele, which, come on, who doesn't want that? I love Barbara Steele. So that's coming out. And then we jump from Silent Scream into Clueless. That's right, Clueless. They've been trying to make Fetch happen. And we're getting Clueless, and this is it's coming back to cinemas, and this is the 30th anniversary of Clueless, and it's going to be released on a 4K Blu-ray. So
it comes out as a Steelbook 2, I believe.
And as a Steelbook, yes, comes out as a Steel. And then Lionsgate Limited, just in time for Mission Impossible. Chris McQuarrie's first feature that he wrote and directed, The Way of the Gun, with more cool Lionsgate packaging. This is from, and see, it doesn't say Lionsgate Limited, it says Lionsgate Home Entertainment, but this is going to be a Lionsgate Limited purchase as well. And this comes out.
The logo on the spine, Rob, is the Lionsgate Limited.
Is the Lionsgate Limited logo, yeah. And so that's all good, and which is cool. So that's coming out. I love this movie. Now, Discotheque Media, in addition to releasing anime and Japanese science fiction, they're also putting out Terrifying Girls High School Delinquent Convulsions Group. Now, I mean, if that isn't the greatest title you've ever heard, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, Terrifying Girls High School Delinquent Convulsions Group. Anyone who roams the halls of St. Ives Girls Academy knows that Takato Nakana, who is played by the Rieko Ike, or Ike, is the big girl on campus. She has looks, money, and more importantly, is the Crimson Rose Society's new boss. But when an international conspiracy tears her perfect life asunder, Takako finds herself thrown out with the dregs of this prestigious academy. Hell-bent on revenge, the fallen delinquent forms a new gang, the Raptors, and sets out to beat those responsible to a bloody pulp. The grounds of another Terrifying Girls High School explode into all-out war for gang supremacy in this pinky violent sequel from director Masahiro Shimura, who directed Terrifying Girls High School Animal Classmates. So what's not to love? I mean, and when you're done with that, they're also putting out Highlander, the complete series, which is fine, but that's not what we care about. What we care about is Terrifying Girls High School Lynch Law Classroom. Come on. When whispers of a close ally's death escape the chaotic Kabu Girls Academy, delinquent gang leader Miki Sugimoto enters the infernal institution in search of answers. However, what she finds inside isn't pretty. Corrupt cops, twisted teachers, and trails of blood left by the devilish disciplinary committee. Determined to snuff out all these creeps, this boss with the cross finds herself allying with righteous rivals and crafty journalists in her quest for vengeance. And this comes from the director of Sex and Fury. So, come on. Who doesn't want to see that? And then, if you're still looking for a third, and here's a trilogy for you, Robo Geisha. Come on. Robo Geisha could satisfy the twisted geniuses behind the Machine Girl and Tokyo Gore Police, present a tale of sibling rivalry, chainsaw faces, machine gun boobs, and butt blades. There's a geisha known for her glamour and grace. Yoshi is her abused sister, banished to the shadows when a mysterious corporation transforms their soft bodies into murderous machines. The rival vixens rush toward an ultra-violent final confrontation. Come on, gentlemen. You know you're going to get all three of these movies, and you're going to be unapologetic about it, right, Dieter?
I can neither confirm nor deny, Rob, that I have something of that stuff pre-ordered. Neither confirm.
Don't let me down. That's why we do this show together. Then, of course, we have coming to us from Via Vision, Tony Curtis and Debbie Reynolds in The Rat Race. And they're everyone's jumping in. They're following George Feltenstein's and his crew's leadership by putting out these classic films. I mean, come on, who doesn't love Doris Day and Debbie Reynolds and Tony Curtis? But Doris Day is in this movie, so what am I saying?
I love the BBFC, Rob. Mild themes and mild violence.
There you go.
Not strong bloody violence. Mild themes.
But now we've got Doris Day and Frank Sinatra and Young at Heart, which is coming out. And again, these are all coming to us from Down Under. And the artwork is not final. Then they're bringing out The Great Lillian Hall. And these are all from Via Vision. And I don't know The Great Lillian Hall, what this is. Lillian Hall is an actress who is synonymous with Broadway, and she's never missed a performance throughout her long, illustrious career. Not for her daughter, not for illness, not for any reason, yet in the rehearsals leading to her next Broadway production, her confidence is challenged. People and events conspire to take away her ability to do what she loves most. And Jessica Lange, Kathy Bates, Jesse Williams, and Pierce Brosnan star in this. So there you go. What a cast. Why not? Let's do it. Now we've got The Damned coming out. And The Damned is an ominous and chilling folk horror film. And it's about Eve and her crew as they come across
at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, they come across a shipwreck. I don't know anything about it, but there you go. And here's a movie about Dieter's younger days, the Bader-Mannheim complex.
The Bader-Meinhof complex. Yeah,
Bader-Meinhof complex. And it's a look at Germany's terrorist group, the Red Army faction, which organized bombings, robberies, kidnappings, and assassinations in the late 1950s and 70s. And it was nominated for both the Academy Award and the Golden Globe for Best Foreign Language Film. By the way, I've seen this movie, and Dieter's performance in this is absolutely terrific. He's fantastic.
I think it's out in Germany from Turbine.
Yeah, there you go. What was it like to make this?
Certainly a different time and era.
Well, it's interesting because, you live this, and then they hired you to play yourself in the movie. So that was an interesting watch.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you when I first saw this.
Did you do a commentary, Dieter?
Unfortunately not. That would be nice, doing an audio commentary.
And this is my favorite release from Via Vision.
Yeah.
Jim Henson's The Storyteller. I love this series. I think this is a great series, and I love this. And this is the first time it's been on Blu-ray. It's a worldwide release from Via Vision, and it's got all 9 stories from the original Storyteller series, plus 4 tales from the Greek Myths sequel series. I love this show, and it's terrific. And then we have the infamous movie Rust, which I heard, some okay things about it. Obviously, there was the horrible, tragic shooting on the set, but now it's coming out on Blu-ray after a theatrical run where it did absolutely nothing theatrically, but there you go. Now, classic flicks, again, coming in hot with the Hopalong Cassidy box set. And it's the Legacy Collection Volume 1. And this has, let's see what we got in here. Well, it doesn't say, actually. The Legacy Collection. We'll see what that, it's got, well, it doesn't say which movies it is, but hey, it's coming out. And then finally, this is for you, Dietz. Kino Lorber is putting out Death Wish 3.
Yeah. Why not?
So,
why not?
Why not? So there you go. And then
in
finally,
4K? Rob, in 4K?
That's a good,
in 4K?
that's a good question. Let me find out for you here. Let me make sure. Death Wish 3. Nah. It does say a brand new 4K Blu-ray release. Well, there you go.
Okay.
Death Wish 3 in 4K. What's not to love? And now we finally get to the top-selling. These are all formats, the Blu-ray discs. Lilo and Stitch, Godzilla -1, Sonic the Hedgehog, Wicked, Pink Floyd Live at Pompeii, Jaws, Gladiator 2, The Terminator, Moana 2, and Paddington in Peru. And then we got the top-selling 4K discs, Lilo and Stitch, Sonic the Hedgehog, Godzilla -1, Gladiator 2, The Terminator, Blade Runner, The Final Cut, What Lies Beneath, I gotta get that, Jaws, The Fugitive, and Anora. So, there you go,
Well,
gents.
At least we are happy Section 31 isn't in the top 10 anymore.
Oh, my God. How Section 31 made it into the top 10 was a personal affront to me and to every other human that lives on this planet.
Yeah.
So, there you go, Max.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, now I don't want, let me see, first of all, let me check and make sure, see what we've got, if we've got any super chats or things that people are throwing out since you're here. I don't want to deprive anybody from of anything. Let's see.
Asking Max questions.
Blackadder, not I, said, I just read, oh, you're going to love this, Max. I just read The Grifters. Have you read any Jim Thompson, and is the film any good? The book reminded me of a mix of Walter Tevis and Elmore. Wow, he does not know how many buttons he's hitting here. The book reminded me of a mix of Walter Tevis and Elmore Leonard and some inspiration from Raymond Chandler. Max, what do you think?
Well,
The Grifters and Jim Thompson.
Jim Thompson, The Grifters is a good movie. It's a little, to my way of thinking, it's a little flawed by some of the casting, but Don Westlake, the great Don Lee Westlake, wrote the adaptation. He wrote the screenplay. He was a mentor of mine, so that resonated with me there. And I was a Thompson fan before it was stylish. In fact, the late Ed Gorman and I put out a little book about him with the cooperation of his wife, his widow, before anybody had done anything on him. So I have a proprietary attitude toward Thompson. Very important writer. And then he mentions Walter Tevis, who was one of my teachers at the University of Iowa, writer's work. So I don't know. It was like bang, 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 bang,
Yeah, I mean, I figured you would like that one. Zeitgeist Ruminator says that Michael Rosenbaum was excellent as Nathan Heller, and the 5.1 surround mix was really immersive. I love hearing that from you because most people have not heard it in 5.1, and in my mind, that was what I was going for. We spent a long time looking forward to future stories. Thank you for that, Zeitgeist Ruminator. It's always nice. The 5.1 mix obviously is going to be coming out on physical media. I've been working on both the soundtrack CD, which is a double disc set, and the Blu-rays. So that's going to have not only all the versions of the audio drama, but all of your history behind the mystery pieces, and then the interview I did with you, the hour-long interview at the Speakeasy, and some behind-the-scenes footage as well of making the audio drama. Castle Grace Skull says, she asks if she'd be a good extra for the movie. Well, it is a movie set in 1947 where the casting couch was still very active, and I like to be a method director. So, you'll have to come talk to me, and we'll see what we can do. No, you actually would. She's got a great face. Castle Grayskull has a great face. She would fit right in with someone in the 40s. So why not? You're not.
We are, however, going to be charging the extras. We decided to turn that around.
Yeah,
we have to pay to be in the movie.
Look, we can't do that. It's a SAG production. No pay to. There's no. There's for those of you who are going to try and clip it out. There's no casting couch, and it's a SAG production. Everything is on the up and up. And there will be no intimacy coordinators. I will say that. No, I'm just kidding.
Everything?
Everything
will be on the up and up?
Okay. Always. My productions are always on the up and up. 200 Watt Studio says that Helen Mirren reprises her role as Morgana in that. How can she can't come back and reprise her role because she hadn't done Morgana. She was too young. She was good, though. I'd like to believe in some universe she did. Danzig 1979 has been a member for 16 months. So I believe we are now caught up on everything, on all of the...
Gentlemen, thank you for inviting me today. Dieter, I'll try not to intrude quite as much in the future because we're going to do this as a little regular segment about what interesting film noir crime things have come out. But
we might pre-record it, too.
And we might pre-record it. I have to say, love the show, love what you guys do, and you're costing me a shitload of money.
Well, that's what we pride ourselves on. Max, I want to thank you so much for giving up some of your Sunday to be here. It's so much, I'm your biggest fan, and you've become a dear friend, and it's always nice to collab. I look forward to spending my life doing collabs with you. And by the way, I do have True Crime is sitting right here. I can't. There's things stacked on top of it, so I can't show it. But if the mood strikes, perhaps maybe a 30-page script, first couple of chapters, maybe just to get the audio drama started.
Chop.
I just wrote you a script. Let's not be greedy.
Why not? Life's short. By the way, we should mention that. Can we mention San Diego? Has that been announced?
Yeah, I don't know if they've announced me yet, but I am going to be one of the invited special guests.
You're a guest of honor at San Diego Comic-Con.
One of them. I'm not the guest. I'm a guest, and I'm hoping that Rob will be able to do the. I think they'll be doing a career interview, and I'd love to have him do it.
Yeah, I have to say.
Will you be on a panel, Max?
Pardon me?
On a panel? Will you be on a panel?
When you're a special guest, they always give you a panel, and so we have at least one panel, and I think that Titan, who I do a lot of my work through, my novels through, Hard Case Crime is a Titan sister company. There will probably be a panel just about that stuff, because I do my Quarry series there, and Heller is being done there now, and we've got the Return of the Maltese Falcon coming
You
up.
should try and get a true noir panel too. We should ask about that and see if we can
get Michael there if we can.
Yeah, because he wasn't there with us last year. It'd be great to get Michael to come down.
I wasn't there last year.
I know. You missed out on the hard drink. You missed out on Anthony LaPaglia. Come on, man. You missed out.
I would have loved to hang with those guys. The cast you put together is just it was just like everybody you want to go out for a beer with.
It's true, but they did it because of your script. It was the material that attracted those actors. Don't forget that. And by the way, for those of you wondering, and maybe anybody out there in the world, there is, of course, True Noir, the dying in the post-war world that we are working on. And like I said, we're going to make this movie, and we're going to make it starting shooting in February 2026. And to quote, because why not? And to quote the producer in Shakespeare in Love, well, how are you going to do that? Where's the budget coming from? How are you going to make this movie? Who's going to be in it? The answer is, I don't know. It's a mystery.
And it is a mystery.
And so it is. And so it is. So, it's like is it Goethe? Is Goethe the German proper pronunciation of the philosopher? The German philosopher, Goethe. Goethe. So Goethe. I'm paraphrasing, but he said that once you truly set off on a course of action, that the universe, the tumblers of the universe, start to click into place. Because once you've committed moving forward, the world tends to react to that commitment and helps you. And I'd like to believe that's true because you're German.
I kind of believe that myself, but when you say committed, I wonder if you and I we'd be sharing a cell.
Well, I would hope so. At least we'd have a lot to talk about.
You guys are so great, and thank you for inviting me into allowing me to construct the wing, the C wing on the B&B motel.
The C wing of the
B&B motel, correct.
Yeah, the C wing.
Right. I tried to. I'm not fucking perfect.
I love that. I love that the B&B motel has a C wing. Because Dieter just created the B&B motel, and you just added a wing to it. I had nothing to do with the B&B motel or the C wing. So now it exists. We'll have to have AI gin us up some kind of a picture of what that looks like. What does the B&B motel's new C wing look like?
I know there's a lot of unmarried people in there. Sure.
And just quickly, what Max has said, Eric Van Joor, the director of Hope and Glory, is in the chat, and he said the comment about how much money we spent thanks to your show is true. And Max, he loved actually Mission Impossible 8. So, and he's a director. So what do I know?
And tell him how much I enjoyed the film that he did, and that you guys brought to my attention.
Yeah.
Which has more views than I can think of anybody else on YouTube right now.
Yeah, they were totally surprised. Didn't expect that either. That it would
was
go
a great job.
that high.
I don't understand why someone just doesn't greenlight them making a TV series. Come on, George Miller. Bring him to Australia and shoot the whole thing there. You executive produce.
I mean, you're talking to somebody that saw the first Mad Max movie, like in a drive-in with the American dub.
Yeah.
I was like, I knew it was just beyond belief.
Well, I mean, you could make canonically what happened between the end of Mad Max and the beginning of Road Warrior.
Yeah.
And because they use that younger actor playing Max.
Yeah.
That's where it could live. you know, and you can see the beginnings of a Morton Joe, and you could see because it, you know, it the timeline's a little, it's never been nailed down, which I think is there's room to maneuver, so to speak, in that world.
Not a true story.
Not yet. Not yet. The main force.
I'm very glad you loved it too, Mike.
I want to thank you again for having me on board. I'm going to go and check into the C wing of the
B&B Motel.
Well, we know there's at least one hot blonde there.
There's one hot blonde.
Yeah.
There's only one in my life, and it's Planet.
And you've even got a naked picture of her in your eyesight right now.
Shh.
I'm going to leave you all with that. I've seen it. All right, everybody. I will see you. Max, thanks for being here. It was great to have you, and we'll see more of you. But that was a great conversation, and we'll let you go. And thanks for participating in the news this week.
And thank you for what you guys do. It's actually a public service. It really is.
I tell Elizabeth that all the time. Yeah, baby, I got to get these discs. It's a public service.
That part is not the public service part.
So I'll eat ramen for another couple of days.
All right. See you guys later.
All right, man. I'll see you later.
See you, Max.
That was the great Max Allen Collins. That was a hoot. And Dieter, thanks for letting me spring him on you. And we will let's see. We will disconnect.
A lot of people say in the live chat, "You missed super chats, Rob. You missed super chats."
We'll get back to the super chats. You know.
Yeah, but people reminding me and in the live chat.
We're good. So Signal Strength 5. This is a good one because I totally agree with this. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one movie show that is underrated that many people haven't seen, what would it be? My pick is I, Claudius. Now, many people know that I think I, Claudius is the godfather of television. I love I, Claudius, but it's hard to get people. I, Claudius was shot in the mid-'70s by the BBC, and it's got it's got everybody from Brian Blessed to Sean Phillips to John Hurt, obviously Derek Jacobi, Patrick Stewart. I mean, it's a murderer's row of British character actors, but it's shot on videotape.
Did I see a special about that show? How it was shot in the composition? I remember something.
You might have.
Special.
You might have.
Special segment about it.
The Brew Joe.
An underrated show.
It's not really underrated. It was celebrated at the time. So
no, from his question, Rob. I'm thinking about it.
Got
to show that.
By the way, Walter Whitewalker Walter Whitewalker says he thinks a series featuring Khan on SETI Alpha 5 would be fantastic. You're going to get that. The very first official Star Trek audio drama, just like True Noir, but it's Star Trek, is based on Nicholas Meyer's 3-night. He wrote 3 scripts. It was going to be a 3-night event called SETI Alpha 5. That's all about Khan's. So it's exactly what you want, and it's Nicholas Meyer wrote it. It was rewritten by Kirsten Beyer and David Mack, the great Star Trek writers, and they've done an audio drama. So I'm hoping I finally have something I can put up against something officially Star Trek and say, I did this. We'll see if it's good. I don't know, but it's coming. The Brew Joe says, I'm liking the new guy. Getting some good banter in. You should all have some schnapps and let loose. Well, I'm trying to buy a little, drink a lot less. So, but I appreciate that.
Don't forget, if the bottle is $14.95, it's called connoisseur.
There you go. That's right. Cammy Egan says, I just bought the True Noir series. I'm from Chicago. My father is a retired Chicago PD detective, and all of my relatives on his side were Chicago police. Well, God, I hope you like it, because remember, back then, in the late 20s and early 30s, you got onto the Chicago PD because it was corrupt. So we deal with that. The main character begins as a Chicago. He's a private. He's not a private dick, but he's a pickpocket dick, and that means detective. And in Chicago, so I hope you like it. I hope you like it. Let's see. Danzig said I got that. Blackadder Not I. Blackadder Not I says one of the best books I've read in the last few years was American Tabloid by James Ellroy. Afraid the Cold 6000 was a bit disappointing afterwards. I have read both of those books, and I totally agree. Totally agree. And Stubble McShave says, Bastian, Burnett, and Collins. People want the BBC. That's why I love Stubble. He's the most erudite man on this channel, but at the same time can make jokes like that. The problem is, if we give everybody the BBC, then we end up feeling inadequate. I'll just leave it at that. So there you go. But Stubble, maybe one day we can make your dreams come true. But that was very funny. So I believe now, hang on, let me just check once more.
Check.
I'm just going to make sure.
Because Thomas reminded me of the live chat, of the chats too. He probably did send in some super chat too.
Well, I will look.
You know.
We're caught
and
up
you
there.
know how he is, Rob. You know?
I do know how Thomas is. I do know.
Never will hear the end about it.
But I don't Silverage Fox Castle Thomas. Oh,
That's the assumption from my.
you know what?
Rob.
He did send. Sometimes they take a while to show up, which is really weird because this was not here. Now it is.
Okay.
Did Dieter Bastian bring up Lynn Ramsey's "Die My Love" yet? That's the movie we were talking about before we went on. J-Lo's new movie.
J-Lo.
"Die My Love" yet looks like J-Lo will wield Oscar gold yet again, and Dieter will shout "Sieg" from his living room.
Sieg, win, Rob, win.
Well, so yes, so Robert Pattinson and J Law are in a new movie directed by. We need to talk about Kevin's Lynn Ramsey, and it played at Cannes the other day, and apparently
you told me it is sold. You told me it's sold, the movie.
Yeah, it did. It sold for $23 million today.
Do you know which distributor, Rob?
Well, you know what? I'll use this newfangled thing called the internet, and I will find out.
I was just thinking when you read the article that it would have been mentioned.
Yeah, no, there's an article, and it's right. It's the headline. Jennifer Lawrence, Robert Pattinson drama Die My Love to Mubi. Mubi bought it. Mubi that had big Mubi had big success with The Substance. Mubi has won out in a multi-distributor tug of war for Jennifer Lawrence's Cannes competition film Die My Love. The voracious buyer is taking domestic and multiple international rights. The deal is in the range of $23 million, maybe closer to $24 million, with full theatrical commitment on 1,500 screens for 45 days. Good for you, Mubi.
Ooh.
It's the first major deal on the ground for a film playing at Cannes, and by far Mubi's biggest acquisition ever. And, you know, Mubi also put out Decision to Leave. They put out The Substance. They're becoming a major player. Mubi wants to get into the game, and they're getting to the game in a big way. Lawrence and Robert Pattinson took to the Cannes red carpet Saturday night for the world premiere of the drama from director Lynn Ramsey. This is a big one for Mubi and its chief, Jason Ropel, coming after its breakout work last Oscar season on The Substance. We hear the bidding on this one was fevered, with Apple and others also squarely in the mix. The theatrical plan and Mubi's creative alignment on the film and how to release it won the day. CAA's media finance deal with Patrick Washburger's 103. It is the first deal of the latter since the Cannes stalwart launched his new shingle. Set in rural for the movie, but plenty of critics were fired up by J Law's performance. The pick is based on the 2017 novel by Ariana Harwitz and also stars Lakeith Stanfield, Sissy Spacek, and Nick Nolte. What a cast. Pattinson plays the husband and Stanfield plays the lover. The prevailing thought on the ground in Cannes seems to be that, in the right hands, the film could be an American Awards contender, in addition to its chances on the Quizette. And the Deadline review says that Damon Wise was impressed by Ramsey's mesmerizing film, describing it as a brutal but beautiful story. As for many critics, Lawrence proved the star of the show. America knows very well how good Jennifer Lawrence can be, and this could mean a 5th Oscar nomination if it lands in savvy hands. Ramsey also came in for particular praise. It could also be the film that takes Ramsey into the next stage of her career. So there you go, buddy.
Because it just fumbled it.
Who doesn't love that?
This movie was from movie 2 in the UK, and I love that movie.
You love How to Have Sex?
Sex. I think this was from movie 2.
Well, there you go. All right. And I guess the time has come. Not to say goodbye.
Yeah. If you have time and it's not too hot. I don't know how the temperature is.
No,
in LA.
It's not too hot now at all. It's cooled down.
Okay.
So I
Nice.
turn the goings on over
Okay.
to you.
Thank you, Rob. And I say previously on Let's Get Physical Media in the live chat. Matt says, double feature for me at the movies tonight, going to see Fight or Flight and then Clown in a Cornfield. Looks like a great double feature to me. At least Fight or Flight, I know, was awesome from my perspective. Dark Hierophant, I'm starting to buy more 4K. They seem to be very limited in production. OOP out of print. Reselling market is seriously insanely priced. Yeah, but it's often then when you go to an out of print title and get that 3 weeks later you get the 4K announcement. We all been there. Secular Monk. Gotta go with my favorite German. What does it mean? Last week about the tariff situation and wanted to know from Rob, what does it all mean? Tariffs or not? And Secular Monk did go on and he says, there is no specificity on what it means. Does it mean filming in another country? Special effects in another country? It makes zero sense. Fan of Reagan in the 80s, but even he realized tariffs were not a good idea. And Meyer says, Prince of Arabia, shot in New Jersey. Anyone identified Dieter's shirt? It's wicked. It's unfortunately in the laundry. I will show it to you next week. It was from the female wrestler Asuka, which I wore last week. Tim Hens. Wonder if Dietz watches all his entertainment on just an old Kindle, just to give you some visual aid here, because I don't have the technical powers to put in posters. Marvel Star Wars Fanatic 6. I'm at best considering the Lights and Magic second season on Disney Plus about Magic. Ahmed Best came to word in that. Marvel Star Wars Fanatic 6. Ahmed Best is such a great guy. He didn't deserve the hate he got. I personally liked Jar Jar. Yeah, they went into during the series that there were even websites they wished Jar Jar was dead. Miele, Warfare was not good. It was great. Mr. Gonzal, speaking of Final Destination, Bloodline 6, better than, I think it was about it, better than 1 or 2. Well, Rob, I did my homework because you put a gun to my head last week and was disappointed again. Do a ranking, Dieter. Do ranking from destination movies. They're only 25 years old, the first one. Do a ranking. And I went through all the movies, Rob, from 5th to 1.
Wow.
I'll give you quick because the show is already long. But my quick is, which will be surprising to a lot of people. So, we go from 6 to 1. Number 6 is actually one of the fan favorites for me. It's Final missing the fun. There was a plot hole in the beginning, the setup. And I always categorize the Final Destination movie. You have a showdown, you have an epilogue later. And Final Destination 3 had a epilogue. There was a cheap double kill. Good setup. But for me, I went through the movie, but with the first one, which were both directed by, they were totally fit from. At number 5, I have Final Destination 5 actually, because this straight, it's one of the countries where it's the highest highs, the lowest lows, because all of the in between stuff, it's for me is boring as fuck. But the other stuff, the kills with the gymnast, every other thing, the setup with the bridge, it's visually great. And then, of course, you have the great epilogue, which is a prequel. So you have pretty high highs, but damn low lows. So Final Destination 5 is at number 5. At 4, strangely, for me, it's Final Destination 1, the original, which gave us all the rules, but it did show his age a bit. And William John Scott is in it, but I have seen him in different roles where he plays a psychopath. So for me, to play a little bit of a loser doesn't fit, strangely, not anymore. And they take a lot of time after the setup with the morning. It probably has the best characters, but for me, it didn't age too well. It gave us the rules, but for me, actually, Final Destination is at number 4. Number 3, which will be on most ranking list at the bottom, is actually Final Destination 4, because it has great 3D. I was surprised. I was not expecting the 3D to be that great, and it totally understands its assignment. You get rid of all the fat and just give you the kills. It's only 70 minutes long. And what totally surprised me, Rob, because the girl in Final Destination 4, I was thinking, I know her. You know, we all see those movies that are older and you recognize somebody. And I think, I know this girl, but from where? And then, of course, later I went to the IMDb, and she is from one of our favorite series, Rob, from For All Mankind. You know, she played the wife of the main character, you know? And I was totally, what? That was an uptick for me for the fourth one. Considering the fourth one, you have just to bring some trashy sensibilities to it. There are some cop-out kills, but for me, fourth is totally a fun blast and nothing more. There's no fat on 4. At number 2 is Final Destination 2. You know, we are all in traffic. The log scene is one of the greatest. It has a little bit of a nice, different ending, but it was the one who brought the fun in. And a great Final Destination always has a switch between quick kills and elaborate kills. And Final Destination 2 has really a nice switcheroo between those two. And at number 1, after I consider everything, actually the new one, Rob. The new one is actually the best of the franchise because it has a great setup. It has the nice switch between slow and great elaborate kills. The only thing that I would say, it's a little bit unfair considering the new one has the biggest budget of all the movies. So it should be, it just feels bigger than the other ones did before that. So for me, the new one is actually the best.
That's what everyone's saying, and with that kind of box office, I mean,
yeah,
it's pretty cool when you get the fifth movie
totally
in the
tracks.
French.
It tracks.
Nice.
Yeah, it totally tracks. And what's great is, Rob, you know, we have all those other franchises, like the Scream franchise now. You know, I love the Scream franchise, but now let's bring Stu Macher back, Matthew Lillard, but he was dead. But Final Destination is never what great about the franchise has never to dip in those nostalgia stuff. You know, we have to bring something back. We have
It's
to bring
pure.
that character back. Because here's the kicker. Here's the kicker, people. If you put any stock in characters in a Final Destination movie, you're a fool. You're a fool, I tell you. You put any stock in characters in the Final Destination franchise. You shouldn't do that. Just saying. But for me, the sixth one is great. I love that it's well received critically from the people, and the box office shows it too. Uncle Jimmy, highway sequence was the best in my opinion, of course. The log sequence, luckily here in Saarbrücken, Deutschland, there's not a lot of trucks with logs driving around. Jay Solomon from the fourth one, the NASCAR engine kill. Yeah, correctly. Secular Monk, is it rotten or fresh, Dieter? Of course, a new one. And that's, even if I made a ranking from worst to best, for me, they were all fresh. They were from 6.5 to the new one, I would say 8.5. Is it rotten or fresh? It's fresh, Secular Monk. Todd Jones, I don't think, considering the sky view, the Space Needle stuff in the new one, like I said, I'm afraid of heights. And Todd Jones says, I don't think I could go on the glass floor either. They have that in the CN Tower too. And even though 5 million elephants could stand on it, still no thanks. Correctly. Fox 1, Dieter laughing about folks' unfortunate deaths. Sicko. Fun with collecting. We talked about MCU movies. Ragnarok has not aged well. I think Love and Thunder heard it. Oh, okay. Todd Jones, I liked Ragnarok, but then when I was walking out after, I thought, other than Jeff Goldblum, Ragnarok sucked. Lord Toth, I hated Love and Thunder, Thor Love and Thunder 2 as a comic purist. Hated. BCH, I have not seen Thor Love and Thunder or Quantumania and likely never will. You made a wise choice. So. Night Chunky, Rob already referred to it when Max was on the show half an hour ago. Will True Noir come to physical? Rob is working on it. Andy Make Star Wars says the cast for Tombstone is crazy. Still now I watch it in the cinema where Kilmer Major standout 100% felt sorry for Dennis Quaid played the same character in Costner's version was not even close. Ecto 1701 just watch the game with Michael Douglas. Hope they 4K it someday. Great movie. Ecto, the 4K Rob had me out was out in the UK. The big box set that we gotten from the game. Or was it just a Blu-ray? No.
For which?
For the game, Rob. The game was Michael Douglas. Or was it just a Blu-ray?
It's just you mean the big box set from Arrow?
Yeah, the big box set.
It's just a Blu-ray.
It was just okay. Sorry, then I remember correctly because, like you said, it was that big chunky great box. But the look of the film was nevertheless awesome. It never looked better than.
Well, Dieter, since you did bring it up,
yeah, okay. You have it. Great, Rob. You have it.
This is great.
Nice.
And it's a cool. This is a really great addition. And it comes with this hardcover book, Yeah. And this is just it's like a real hardcover book. Here's the movie. And then this is probably one of the more impressive. Actually, it's got 2 discs.
Yeah.
One of the more impressive books
because
that they've ever put out.
Never good before.
Yeah. I mean, this is an amazing set.
A banger.
I always forget I have this.
Probably I would think, Rob, it was at least on one of the top 10 lists that we always did at the end of a year. I would think so when it came out.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I showed a movie that was up for an Academy Award internationally. The Seed of the Sacred Fig. And Reese says, amazing film. Incredible story behind the making of it. The filmmakers had to sneak it out of Iran. Yeah, I heard something like that too. Andy Makes Star Wars. Mark Kermode always watch his reviews have done for decades. Remember listening to him and Simon Mayo in the mid-90s on BBC Radio. Then you were way ahead of me. I learned about Mark Kermode and Simon when I discovered YouTube. Thomas Logan. Dieter loves to buy crap. One has to. Todd Jones. Dieter has a wide selection of women in prison movies or terrifying high school girls.
You're German.
Critical Nature. Yeah. Critical Nature. Hot chicks with guns. What you want more? Exactly. You and I park our shuttle in the same shuttle bay. Considering Endor. Todd Jones. Dieter's trying to diplomatically say it sucked. And I didn't try to say that because I still have to finish the series. I have not seen the last ones because I wanted to give the third chapter a rewatch before. But I had to do the Final Destination. That was my homework from Mob. Do the Final Destination series. That's Play-Doh. The episodes were good. The speech was surprisingly weak. Okay. Marvel Star Wars Fanatic 6, 7 to 9 of Endor was pretty good. Major Chai Chai asked, is Endor worth resubscribing to Disney Plus, Rob? And I think you answered that,
Yes.
Major Chai Chai, already in observation, I think. And BCH said, it's absolutely worth it. It's a fantastic show. Thomas Logan says, I think most people who overhype Endor don't watch actually great television. I don't dislike it. I just don't think it's anywhere close to being deserving of the overhype it's getting. Luna is a chore to watch. Most boring protagonist ever. Secular Monk said, mid-level media is a fraud. Okay. Marvel Star Wars Fanatic 6. So, Rob, you said Love and Thunder is the only MCU film you don't own. Did you finally buy Deadpool and Wolverine?
No.
Thomas? No, okay. He waits for a Schnäppchen prize.
I do not own Thor Love and Thunder, Quantumania, The Marvels, or Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. So all of the last ones. But hopefully Thunderbolts.
I'll buy Thunderbolts. And Captain America Brave New World just came out. Look, eventually I will get them all, I guess. I just, for me to lose enthusiasm, I mean, I will never watch Quantumania again. I will never watch Love and Thunder again.
That's the problem.
I will never watch the Marvels again.
Is not there.
I mean, I never thought, because I get so much enjoyment out of the first 23 Marvel movies. I get very little in enjoyment out of what they've put. And I never thought I would be that way. If you told me I would be in that situation, I would have said, no way. But the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I mean, look, I'll even watch, I like Iron Man 2. I'll watch Dark World and Hulk, the Incredible Hulk. There's stuff to
which were normally the bottom of the
and
previously.
And I do own Black Widow, I do own Eternals, I do own all the Spider-Man movies. I do own all that stuff, but Thor Love and Thunder, I hated those movies. They made me hate them. And I didn't think that was possible.
Timey-wimey-limey. Time Cop is the true sequel to Back to the Future. Secular Monk. I will never buy Anora. It was awful. Then we get to Section 31. Altmetall. The fact that Section 31 is in that list, the top 10 list that Rob always presents, is not a good sign for physical media. Michelle D. Section 31 above Kubrick is a crime against humanity. Tim Hens, not even a charity shop would accept Section 31. Major Chai Chai, Trash Panda gives Section 31 a pass. Like I said, people who bought it perhaps doesn't have Paramount Plus and they want to see it. Have to give them something, Major Chai Chai. Double my shave. My sadistic side makes me want to buy Section 31 and send it to Rob. That's double, Rob. That's double. The man you always praise. Unbelievable. Secular Monk. I would rather buy Section 31 than Anora. Okay. Then a question, Rob. Night Chunky wants to know, what websites are you using for the sales figures? Can you tell us the websites?
Oh yeah, Media Play News. I go to
Media Play News.
Media Play News. It's a great site. I go there every day for news.
Yeah, nice. Critical Nature. I think I'm going to watch Havoc after the show. Anyone saw it here? Is it good? Unfortunately, not to the level that we are used to Gareth Evans
I
doing
wanted
those
to love
kinds
it.
of movies. Yeah, me too, Rob. Secular Monk. Considering his dislike of Anora. I don't like Sean Baker movies in general. Florida Project, Anora, Red Rocket. Just don't like his work. Major Child says, I didn't dislike Anora, but I'm not enamored with it except for Mikey Madison and Yuri Borislav. I'd prefer if the movie had stayed more with Mikey's work at the club. Thomas Logan informs us, Anora is a love story. Most folks who dislike it fail to understand this because Baker completes the narrative literally in the last frame of the film. These folks tend to give up after the first hour. And then Tim Mann says, 2035, I'm counting the days because he says, Anora will be forgotten, and says, I will remember you in 10 years about the movie again. Merely, my wife is going to a concert, so I'm heading to a strip joint. Anora, don't fail me now. Timey-wimey-limey, I'm way too old to fan out, but Dieter reading out my 37 timeline comment has really made my day. Rob, you showed a movie. I don't know if it was in the news section or you bought it, and we were not sure it was a Spanish release. If it perhaps is a bootleg, like the True Lies is or not. And the Felon attorney, Oregon Ariel, says, I guarantee the Spanish version is completely legal. They kept their very limited copyright laws from when Franco was in charge of the country. Okay. And Cinema Gulp, this was actually a super chat. Hey, Rob and Dieter. Rob, love your Star Wars Destroyed fandom wit. Question for you guys, do you feel 3D is more about defining the original clarity of a film, more so than making it pop as a gimmick? And he did go on. I only asked because I saw Jaws in 3D in 2022, and it made the film looks so good. That was one of the discs that I would really love to see getting a 3D release, the Jaws release in 3D, because I heard the 3D was
really
Rob,
good.
This was the live chat.
Well, it's a great live chat, everyone. And what other show reiterates the live chat the next week? Come on, Yeah.
It's actually only doable, Rob, because we all have that small but dedicated audience.
Wait, I got to call Played Out. I got to call Played Out in the chat right now.
Yeah.
Played Out in the chat says,
okay.
Rob, you can watch Japanese trash all day, but Section 31 is just too much. Let me tell you why. Japanese trash is true and honorable. It was made by people that have courage of their convictions. Section 31 was made by people who
it has Rob authorship.
Authenticity and authorship. Section 31, the people that made Section 31 and the people that brought Section 31 into Discovery probably never even watched the Deep Space Nine episodes that Section 31 was introduced in, like Inquisition, because they never would have made the horrible swill. They ruined Section 31 in the second season of Discovery by... They just decided, somebody probably read about it and thought, oh, Section 31's like the CIA or MI6. Without even any cursory understanding, no trip to Memory Alpha, no cursory look at the Google accounts of anybody. Section 31, if you need to know how bankrupt and how the creatives that work on modern Star Trek are all suspect, what they've done with Section 31 shows just an elementary school level of what Section 31 should be. And
for me, Rob, I totally came. I just wanted to be, not going through all the lore or if it fits. I just wanted to be entertained from that movie. But even that point, it totally failed. Totally failed. From the action standpoint, from the stuff that was in it.
Everything about it was Z grade. I mean, I'd rather watch a movie like Eliminators, a lower rent Full Moon or Empire effort from the late 80s. I mean, Metal Storm, the destruction of Jared Sin makes Section 31 look like
3D, Rob. In 3D.
In 3D. I mean, so bad. And you know what? The fact that anybody who's currently working on Star Trek was responsible for that, and it was going to be a pilot, and then they changed it. When you look at something like that, I don't even know how people that work on Star Trek have kept their jobs. And now, you know what? If you look at the preview for Section 31, I mean, not Section Their Own. Pardon me. For I can't even speak. I'm so upset.
New season.
Strange New Worlds. I can't say it. Strange New Worlds. If you look at the trailer and what they're choosing to show you from Strange New Worlds, the whole thing is a goof. None of it. I mean, they're now ripping off Black Mirror's a parody of Star Trek. Which, by the way, the second episode of USS Callister from the 8th season of Black Mirror that recently dropped was way better than any episode of Strange New Worlds. They've got a great cast that they're wasting with writing levels that are thank God they're bringing back Buffy, and they're getting a lot of the original writers to come back because, I mean, these people are badly ripping off Buffy and Angel, so hopefully maybe the new Buffy will come and show these idiots how to write, because the people writing Strange New Worlds, and I'm sure, I will watch the first episode of Starfleet Academy.
Season 3.
And now they're going to make Starfleet Scouts an animated series for kids. Okay. Like, it's frustrating when you get a show like Andor to see what they've done to Star Trek. Look what they've done to my boy. It's terrible. So, Played Out says, buy a shot of whiskey on me.
Yeah.
Sorry about bringing it up. No. That's why we love the show. I appreciate you supporting the channel, but no, it was enough. I love that you said that. No, everybody who watched, we're all friends here. There's no animosity toward anybody. Right. But we all have to be able to gently rib one another.
No problem taking some dicks here and there.
Yeah. It's true. Uh-oh, Alt Metal says, okay, it's rant time. No, I'll calm down the rants. Calm down the rants. I mean, I need to see a therapist, probably for a lot of things, but I need to see a therapist if only because of how angry modern Star Trek makes me. I need some kind of, what I need is the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. Can I forget modern Star Trek? Can I do that? So anyway, so where are we at? What are we doing?
Yeah, Rob, I don't know if you have gone through all the super chats. The show is about 3.5 hours now. I don't know if you felt the stomach get on the good grades of Star Trek.
Yeah, why don't we end the show? We can do that next week. Oh, next week, by the way, is exactly. In fact the 200th episode of the show.
I add more titles to show, but I will show them next week.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay. Well, and I'm going to try and I've been remiss in trying to contact some people, but I want to contact a bunch of players, people that stream, other YouTubers that are in this space. I really do want to get Elliot Cohen to come on the show. So anyway, is this the longest Let's Get Physical Media show? I don't know.
No, I don't think so, Rob. It could be, but I think we have one or two that are equal to 3.5 hours, just from the memory that I have.
Yeah.
So, but on that note, people, I say, jede Person, die du triffst, hat eine Geschichte zu erzählen, die du noch zu hören hast. Alles, was du tun musst, ist zuhören.
Every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen. I want to thank Max Allen Collins for generously giving us some of his Sunday to come on the show, and hopefully we'll work out the kinks of our new segment.
Just saying, Max, I can't believe that when you are watching Mission Impossible 8, as the writer that you are, that you would be saying, that movie flows like a charm. Can't believe that you would say that. Just saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, and he'll be honest. He's nothing if not honest.
Yeah.
And I want to thank all of you out there for, first of all, tuning in and for generously supporting this channel via Super Chats and tips. I want to thank all the members, too. We had, a delightful member call. There were some new faces, including Castle Grayskull. Nice. And always nice to see, we've got some good members, supportive members, and some of them I've never seen in the chats. I mean, some people just don't want to be seen. I get that. But, you're a bunch of lovely folks. We got very handsome.
Like you said, you're putting yourself out there.
We got a Syrian who lives in Germany on the chat yesterday. That was pretty neat. And then, of course, Castle Grayskull finally graced us with her presence, and she's lovely. and she's definitely part of the tribe. So that was really nice. So, don't hesitate. And if, by the way, you don't even have to show your face. If you want to come in on the member chat and participate, you don't have to show your face. You can just talk. And if you're bashful or shy and don't want to be on the internet, I totally understand that. But hey, it's fun. That member call was like 5 hours.
And you have that part, Rob, where you are not even on the internet. It's really private.
Yeah, that's right. So we do the first 2 hours live, and then we turn off the broadcast, and then we went for like almost 5 hours yesterday, and it was fun. Yeah. So it was pretty cool. I love those member chats. They're great. And on that note, I guess we will be back for the 200th episode next week. I can't believe we've done 200 episodes of this show.
With some giveaways, but don't expect any big artsy movies.
You know what I have to do? You know what I'm going to do?
Not from me.
What I'm going to do next week is I'm going to prepay for envelopes, because I've got giveaways, and I'm going to prepay, and I'm going to put what we give away in the envelopes. And and then after the show's over, I'm going to drive down to the post office, and I'm going to take the giveaways that I've got.
I will clip that out.
And I've got stuff to send you too.
As evidence.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that in advance. So we'll do giveaways, and it'll be probably a really long show too. But it's gonna be fun.
Don't worry, the questions will not be tough to answer. I took it down a little.
No, but I've got a lot of giveaways, and so it's gonna be
I have four titles to give away next week.
It'll be fun. What I really should do is I should, because I've got a lot of Blu-rays I've pulled out of my collection that I've replaced with 4Ks. If anybody, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just hold up shit, be like, would anybody want this? And shove it into an envelope, and because otherwise I'm going to trade it in or sell it. I'll just
in the green bean maker, Rob.
Oh yeah, the green, yeah, put it in, but because I probably have 100 discs that I've pulled, I've got so many duplicate discs, and some discs I'm not going to give, but I've got so many, so we'll do that. It'll be fun. And give something back to the crowd. I'm going to send them out, Tom. I'm going to send them out. God damn it. You'll see. You will see, my friend. But other than that,
go watch Final Destination, Rob.
Yeah, I will try and do that. And I am going to do a Robservations tonight, because I want to play.
Do you have a topic already?
I do not. I don't know what the topic is. I did have. There was an Andor article I read that I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I got to look and see. What's going. Maybe talk about Can. I don't know. Got to see what's up.
But you always stumble across something that wasn't on your radar.
Yeah. Well, that's what I look for. I'm always looking for things to that float my boat. Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll be back next week with the 200th show. 200 shows. I mean, how do we do it, Dieter? 200 shows.
I have no idea.
Born out of a pandemic.
Yeah.
and
still here.
and I got to give a shout out, because I keep, Xevious, who did this artwork, is no longer with us, and it's wild to, I miss him, because he was working with me doing some storyboard work, and so much of this channel, our theme music is Xevious did that music too, and he's no longer with us, but we're still here fighting the good fight.
Correct.
See. All right, man. Well, on that note,
we're looking forward to what you will be saying about Mission Impossible 8.
Yes, it's going to, and Lilo and Stitch. It's going to be a fun week. Yeah. So, yep. So 11 o'clock Pacific time, right here, May 25th, the actual Star Wars day. We're here for the 48th anniversary of Star Wars. Let's get physical media next week.
What a 200 time.
800, sign the discs, says Stubble McShave. Yeah. I could sign the discs. Sure. I also should get some poster tubes, because we have a lot of the the San Diego Comic-Con posters from last year that we gave
True
out.
Noir poster.
The True Noir posters.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's very cool. And then, oh, you know what? I will show the stuff that I got from Paul on tonight's show.
Great.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Everybody say, yeah, you know what? What Melly.
Yeah.
I always say that's not the right pronunciation.
Mieli.
Yeah, Mieli. Mieli actually has a great idea.
Yeah.
Mieli says everybody send in a photo for a montage. That is a really good idea. I would love it. If you could take a picture of you standing in front of your physical media collection, and if you send it to my email at rmburnett1701@gmail.com, I will make a montage of everybody, and we'll show it. We'll show it. And if you want to, like, on the picture you send me, if you want to use a program and put your name on it, you know, and where you're from, you don't even have to put your whole name. You can put your name that you use in the chat. Just, you know, do that. That'd be fun. That's a really good idea. So if you want to do that and you're still here, and I'll say that tonight on
YouTube. Your YouTube username, if you don't use
your YouTube username,
real name,
and email it to me to rmburnett1701. So it's RMB capital. I don't think that matters, but it's rmburnett it's rmburnett1701, the call sign of the Enterprise, or the actual naval construction contract, or whatever you want to believe NCC means. So it's rmburnett1701@gmail.com, and put in the heading LG, let's get LGPM. And then put LGPM picture, so I know. And there you go, because that'd be pretty fun. And I'll make a montage. It's a montage.
Awesome.
We'll do that.
Gosh, everybody needs a montage.
All right, everybody.
Okay. See you next week for the 200 people.
And we are out.
Nice.
So
I hope Max had a